morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Monday, November 20th, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card that we are starting our day off with today is, we have here our Knight of Swords in its reversal. Now, masculine and feminine energy that are working on divine union and partnership right now. This could be a moment of, again, for masculine energy specifically, this could be a moment of feeling some point of anxiety or frustration. This could be a slowing down on some processes today. For masculine energy, one of the challenges that's going to occur potentially in divine union and partnership is feeling like that difficulty in getting that sense of motivation. I need to stress, I'm not necessarily surprised to see this, because one of the things that we were identifying that was happening over the last few days was that feeling of easement, that feeling of contentment that was coming in, even in the energies in divine union and partnership at this time. Feminine energy was almost at a moment yesterday that we saw that was requiring a bit of backing from the masculine. It was almost that point of instability that the feminine was feeling that the masculine was effectively supporting them on. This is masculine effectively reflecting that same energy back to the feminine. This could be feelings of some kind of sense of, again, having a hard time finding that point of motivation right now. Could be feeling like a little bit of a challenge for the masculine. This could even be articulating itself as a feeling of uncertainty right now in terms of the best way to approach or tackle any situations and hurdles right now. Feminine, you may be identifying and seeing this right now in masculine energy, if in divine union and partnership. That little bit of energy right now that feels for like the masculine doesn't seem like they have as much of that like kick in their step today. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now that is moving into divine union and partnership, what we are effectively seeing at this moment is this is a moment that, again, this is going to feel like a bit of that make or break point as it relates to divine union and partnership at this time. Because what we are effectively identifying and seeing at this moment is the fact that, again, masculine and feminine energy are working to come into divine union, but feminine energy right now could be feeling some moment of frustration or uncertainty because something about what they're getting from the masculine doesn't feel like it is completely confident about the direction that it wants to move in. We even articulated that for some of the feminine energy right now, there's this recognition point of a masculine that is learning how to regulate their own emotionality. But the problem that we're seeing here is, while this may be leading right now for the energy trying to come into divine union and partnership, like a point of masculine either articulating that there is a desire to continue forward into divine union, it could be coming through right now as a feeling of frustration from feminine in not necessarily feeling that the masculine is doing that with as much determination or as much like chutzpah as they may would ideally like to see. Feminine that's going through this right now in divine union partnership, there may be a moment that kind of requires you to have a little bit of easement right now for the masculine energy, because what we're really seeing is almost a masculine energy that's trying to navigate their own emotional space right now, that it's almost leading to some spaces or points of confusion. This is a masculine energy that's almost feeling a little bit of the lack of confidence in something that may require some amplification. It may require some encouragement. Why are we seeing this? Because, and I will point out that this is the point that the feminine energy has to be mindful of their own reflection. Feminine energy are operating right now at such a state or space of reflectivity that this is almost creating a pause point, even in the masculine energy right now that's trying to do this work. So feminine energy right now, you may be identifying a masculine that feels like it is a bit more withdrawn today, that needs this level or degree of encouragement. It needs that boost to their confidence. So feminine energy, this may be something that you need to be a little mindful for right now if you're either in divine union and partnership or if you're trying to work towards divine union and partnership. Now, masculine and feminine energy, and then again, one of the problems that we're seeing here, and this is where it's going to feel like a bit of a struggle point for the energy right now trying to come into divine union partnership, is, again, feminine energy is trying to balance and walk that line between observing the masculine energy's own reaction point to circumstances and situations, while also being mindful of trying to make sure that they don't necessarily overgive to things. So this could be a feminine energy that, again, this is the struggle point for the feminine, because seeing masculine at this point of uncertainty, seeing masculine at this point of pulling back, may also be creating a state or space of confusion for feminine, because this is a feminine that is feeling the anxiety that this has to do with a level or degree of being focused entirely towards the feminine. Divine union partnership, this isn't necessarily going to be as big of a deal, because this is almost a feeling like that this is coming from like the masculine not having a desire to do things outside of the partnership, moving forward on their own obligations, on their own tasks. While as for the masculine and feminine trying to come into partnership right now, this is going to feel like a more difficult expression, because this could be a feminine that is, again, seeing the masculine at a point of uncertainty and hesitancy, and fearing that that is a masculine that is potentially having some anxiety in going forward into divine union. Feminine energy in moving in separation right now, this is now the masculine effectively reflecting some of that guardedness that the feminine has been effectively exhibiting or putting forth to masculine right now. You could even be feeling right now, feminine, that there's some kind of withdrawal energy that's now happening from a masculine, because again, this is feminine energy that is working right now on their own sense of stability. They're not chasing after masculine at this time, and this is almost the feminine energy that is similarly, not only are they operating in that state or space, but they're not seeing masculine energy that's moving towards them with that same level of enthusiasm or determination that the feminine energy would effectively desire to see right now. Energy and separation right now, this is not necessarily as much of a difficulty for the feminine right now, because this is, again, almost feeling like a feminine energy that's seeing a masculine energy in this modality almost for what it is, and almost seeing and recognizing that this is potentially masculine energy that feels this sense or state of anxiety, or this sense or state of lack of confidence. And this is not necessarily the energy that the feminine is trying to generate right now or require from masculine. So this is feminine almost coming from a state or space of observation of this in the masculine, but not necessarily either coming from a state of inquiry, if this is something that they're trying to get clarification on, or almost just accepting the situations for what they are. Masculine energy in separation right now, this is that moment that we're seeing is leading to some point of confusion. It's almost like, again, some of that personal work that you're doing on the self right now to ask yourself what it is that you're really moving towards right now. This is potentially going to feel like it's articulating itself right now for the masculine energy in separation as some anxieties as it relates to a lack of purpose, or feeling that lack of passion. It could be even feeling like that sense right now of some kind of like sense of defeat that's potentially coming into circumstances or situations that's potentially feeling more like a personal hurdle that needs to be navigated through. Continuing to get clarity on these cards right now. Second card in our 5-card spread for today is, we like this. We've got here our Hangman in its reversal. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now that is moving in divine union and partnership. This is almost that moment that, again, for the masculine energy, this is going to feel more like a point of experiencing or allowing some point of easement. This is more of that continuation of easement that we saw was occurring for the masculine energy over the last few days in partnership, continuing forward at this time. This is almost a masculine energy right now that is feeling too much of the weight of some situations and circumstances, needing to get into a better sense of balance in one's own life. This is almost a masculine energy right now, feeling the frustration point of some situations and circumstances that they feel have become too imbalanced. So there may be a lot of conversation today, even in the energies that are in partnership, about the masculine energy's own need for support at this time, because this is really expressing a masculine energy that is feeling that lack of motivation around some situations and circumstances right now, because it's a feeling that something has become potentially too hard or too difficult. It's that need right now of finding or perfecting that balance between their own level of how far they want to push themselves versus what they're getting back right now, that is almost requiring that point of recalibration. Now, masculine and feminine energy, you may also be seeing this in the masculine energy around you right now, if in divine union and partnership. This is almost a moment right now for the feminine energy effectively looking towards masculine to ask the masculine energy what ways or places that they can support them. Because we are seeing here that this is a feminine energy that is feeling a little bit more of that easement right now. This is a feminine energy that has been doing the work with the support of masculine, if in divine union and partnership, to move away from anything that is becoming too difficult, anything that is becoming too much of a hurdle, anything that the level or degree of difficulty is overriding the point of easement. For masculine and feminine energy in this modality right now, could be feminine energy that is effectively looking to the masculine right now and trying to give back the lesson that the masculine gave the feminine just a few days ago. Now, for masculine and feminine energy right now that is working to come into divine union, this is a bit more of that make or break point that we're seeing is potentially rising up today. Because what we're effectively identifying right now for the energy trying to come into divine union and partnership is this point of recognition right now that we are seeing that the masculine energy is, and again, if this is coming forward in a positive, productive way that is helping to continue forward on that divine union frequency, this is masculine energy that is effectively articulating to feminine their own doubts, their own fears, their own points of crisis. And it may require some further point of adjustment because this is a masculine energy that is doing the important work of divine union, which is, again, not moving from a space of stoicism, but instead connecting with the feminine, articulating their own needs at this time for assistance, for help, for support, i.e. showing proof to feminine that this is masculine energy that is ready to move into divine union. Feminine is effectively, again, if moving into divine union, doing their part to articulate to the masculine in this moment, I also have doubts. I also have fears. I also go through these moments and modalities that I feel like that. But again, this is almost the feminine energy immediately coming into a state of easement to rescue the masculine energy from their own unhealthy negative thoughts or their own lack of own determination. This is feminine energy saying, I want you to recognize that I am not going to depart from you or move away from you if you are expressing these doubts or these fears or uncertainties. I'm in fact going to effectively pour gold over them. I'm going to fill in the cracks. I'm going to do everything that I can do to make things easier for you, to restore your own sense of confidence. Now, energy that is effectively seeing this right now and not necessarily using this as a gathering point so much as a reflectivity point. If this is effectively occurring right now, this could lead to a lot of energy potentially moving back into that separation vibration. Because what we're effectively seeing right now is the fact that for the energy that's in this modality, this is almost a moment where feminine needs to step forward right now and not be as reflective. Because what we're really identifying right now is, again, this is masculine energy that is almost expressing these doubts and these fears. If feminine now comes into a space of reflecting, this could be a feminine that just effectively sees that point of pulling away as some kind of internal confirmation or affirmation that this is a masculine that doesn't feel like they are ready or confident enough to move into divine union partnership. This could potentially lead to the feminine effectively saying, this is too difficult. This is too painful for me. Your own lack of conviction is too much. And this is potentially a feminine energy that is walking away or pulling away from a masculine in this modality or in this vibration. Now, that is almost leading again to the moment that we find in separation right now for masculine and feminine at this time. Because for the feminine energy that is in separation, and again, some of this energy is at a point of separation. This is almost the feminine energy coming into a space or place right now where, again, in separation, the feminine energy is almost feeling that point of separation as a point of relief, of feeling like they have learned a lesson, because this is effectively an energy that has said that they went through something that is very difficult with masculine. They did everything that they could do. They went through something that was very painful, that was very hard, that was very problematic. And this is almost a feminine energy that is feeling the weight And it may come through again as a feminine saying, not necessarily seeing a masculine that could effectively rise to the same challenge of the feminine's own ability to be able to navigate difficult things. Because again, that is a continuation on the lesson that we saw of a feminine that was waiting for a masculine to effectively show the ability to meet the feminine in their own ability to navigate something that the masculine effectively brought forth to them. This is a feminine energy giving themselves that sense of catharsis, of a lesson learned. It's going to feel like more of that karmic completion right now, because this is feminine almost affirming to themselves that the masculine energy that they're moving away from right now did not have the confidence or the security to be able to meet the feminine at the same level that they tried to meet them. Masculine energy right now that is in separation, this is a moment that we see that is also going to feel like a point of catharsis, because again, there is a moment right now in separation, again, in terms of identifying what you're trying to adjust, what you're trying to modify, what you're trying to change within the self. And there's a moment right now that is almost speaking to a point of having some kind of deep lesson that is being learned at this time. Because what we are effectively identifying right now for the masculine energy in this modality and in this vibration is almost a moment of seeing. And again, this is either going to feel like a personal moment of transformation or a feeling of abandonment. For the masculine energy that is in this modality, this is either a point of observation in your own self, in your own degree of moving away from things when they are difficult instead of moving towards them. That is what the feminine has been observing. And this is a moment that you may be identifying this as a characteristic or a feature within the self that needs some point of adaptability. It needs some point of change. You are seeing this as a point of personal growth. This is a mission that you're now kind of putting yourself on as you say to yourself that you're the recognition point of feeling like you lost something because you potentially did not move towards it with enough determination, with enough conviction, with enough of that certainty that effectively has created a space or place that is almost that confirmation now, that recognition of what you need to change in the self is now creating a sense of easement, because it's now something that you see in the self that you know that you can modify, that you know that you can change. It's allowing yourself, almost like getting yourself off the hook, because now you're like, I understand what I need to change, either going forward or going backward, either going back to some circumstances and situations and seeing one's own lack of confidence in those moments is what effectively created a sense or space of release, or this is masculine energy that it's in the modality of seeing this right now. And again, feeling that sense of frustration, feeling that sense of just letting go of something, because there's almost a point of feeling like there's something here about the lesson being learned. And this is a moment of, again, being able to have that point of personal correction that is leading to a sense of easement. And that's giving you something that is helping you move out of any of that feeling of limbo that you're potentially feeling right now. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Third card in our 5-card spread for today is Two of Cups. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now that is in divine union and partnership. One of the things that we see that is so important and valuable at this time is the fact that we are identifying that for masculine and feminine energy in divine union and partnership, this is the masculine getting, again, further support, further strength from the partnership itself. There's a point right now of masculine appreciating the fact that there is a feminine here, that when the masculine is not necessarily feeling at their best or feeling like they have all that motivation, feminine is effectively letting them off the hook to a certain extent. Feminine's almost saying that's okay. You don't need to kind of push forward at every moment. You can have a point of easement. Masculine that's seeing this right now, this is continuing to feel like this is a point of appreciation and partnership, because this is a moment where you're feeling the security and strength of a partnership, a moment when you're not necessarily feeling like you're at your greatest, but instead the energy around you right now is effectively stepping forward and giving you support in this way, and basically saying, what do you need at this time that can help you in this moment? Masculine and feminine energy that is working to come into divine union and partnership right now. This is, again, one of those moments that is effectively feeling like a bit of a challenging space if this is a continuation into divine union and partnership at this time, because this is, again, a moment of the masculine feeling some lack of confidence as it relates to going forward. Why? Because if this is a continuation of the cycle that we've been seeing, this is masculine energy that has effectively told the feminine that they have this like large feeling, this large emotional feeling that they're trying to navigate. They haven't completely finished navigating it, but they are confirming to the feminine that they still have every desire to move forward on the cycle of divine union, to move into the divine union frequency. The problem with the masculine is, and again, this is why for the energy right now that is feeling this, it is really valuable and important to articulate your own fears, to articulate your own anxieties, to really amplify what it is that's holding you back right now to the feminine, because what we're seeing here is almost a moment of the feminine having a point. It's like feminine needs that point of access to be able to come in to give that level or degree of assistance. There won't be assistance if there isn't access to the problem effectively. And this is almost a feminine that is potentially trying to articulate this to the masculine, which is almost the feminine, again, if continuing to work into divine union and partnership, and if this is a masculine that is being open and clear and articulate about their need. This is a feminine energy that's almost immediately affirming the masculine in this moment. And almost again, likewise, if this is masculine talking about their past fears, this is a feminine energy that's again trying to say, I can only help you if you tell me what needs help. I can only heal something if you show me what is hurting. This is the feminine almost again helping the masculine into the divine union journey by trying to express to them in every way, shape, or form that the feminine is not going to back away from a masculine if in need. This is a feminine that's trying to articulate that they will always rise to the challenge, but they need the masculine not to be as stoic. They need the masculine to open up in that capacity to allow for the potentiality and possibility of divine union to occur. Other part of masculine energy right now, again, there is a moment that we're seeing here that may create some point of difficulty, because what we're effectively seeing right now is for some of the masculine and feminine energy, this might not necessarily be a point of healing so much as it might be a fracture point, because there is a point right now, again, if this is a masculine energy that is not articulating to the feminine their own doubts, their own fears, their own points of feeling less than confident, instead is just using that lack of confidence as a point of withdrawal. Feminine is, and I have to express this is the thing that's coming through, that's like, this is the thing you have to understand. All right, the feminine energy finds the masculine pulling away without articulating their fear as the point of actually seeing fear. Because this is a feminine energy that's looking at masculine and saying, this is a masculine energy that would rather move away from me at a point of feeling fear than instead come towards me at a point of feeling fear. Again, the difference between falling together and falling apart. And for a feminine that sees a masculine that is taking this moment where things are so in need of healing and reverting back to themselves, closing inwards, backing away from feminine. This is feminine that's almost immediately moving back into the separation vibration, because this is a feminine energy that effectively is affirming to themselves and saying, I can only help the partnership if the partnership brings forward what I need to do. This is a feminine realizing the importance of the reciprocity point, even in moments when the masculine might not necessarily be feeling as confident. It's almost like the feminine realizing and recognizing that if the masculine cannot come forward with that point of articulating why they're feeling like that, why they're feeling a lack of confidence, this is feminine energy saying, like, this is not a space or place that is giving the indication that they understand the value and significance of divine union or divine partnership energy, or effectively saying that this is an energy that is not prepared for what a divine partnership entails. Masculine energy, if you're not in a space, if you are in a space or place right now where, again, you are moving into divine union and partnership, but you're feeling doubts and fears, but instead of articulating those doubts and fears to feminine, you are instead utilizing this as a moment of withdrawing. Congratulations, you've moved back into separation. You move back into the separation frequency because it's a moment that you are freeing yourself from the difficulty or hurdle, but you're not expressing the difficulty or hurdle being within the self. You are reflecting it and looking at it and feeling like the partnership itself is the source of the difficulty. This is a moment of the masculine moving potentially away from the partnership because the partnership feels like the source of the fear. Rather than internalizing that process, rather than recognizing that the fear exists within you, not around you, is effectively pulling you back into separation. Whereas if you bring that forward towards feminine, then that becomes a moment that the feminine is, again, you start moving back into partnership vibration, that divine union vibration, because it's a moment that you recognize that it is not the partnership itself that is the source of fear, that it is coming and generating from within the self, and that the partnership will be able to support, to correct for any of those anxieties and fears if you bring them forward. Feminine energy and separation, this is exactly why we see that the feminine energy right now isn't necessarily moving right now towards any energy of masculine, that isn't coming forward in a very conviction, like with a lot of conviction right now, because this is feminine energy right now that is, again, seeing a masculine that may even recognize the fact that the feminine energy needs some level or degree of stability. What did we see was happening yesterday? Feminine was trying to articulate to masculine in some way, shape, or form that they were feeling less than stable, that they needed that sense of encouragement. They needed that sense of empowerment from the masculine. If the masculine wasn't able to bring that forward, feminine's back into separation. This is why. And for the feminine energy that's already, and again, I'm hesitant to say that the energy right now is in separation, because this is feminine energy right now that is, again, feeling like they are freeing themselves from masculine energy that is not showing an ability to protect the feminine in a point of difficulty. This is a masculine energy that potentially sees feminine energy at moments that they are less than stable or they need support. And this is almost feminine, again, confirming to themselves, closing that karmic loop in terms of recognizing and saying to themselves that this is a point of saying that this is not a masculine energy that is ready to rise to the challenge of divine union, because this is almost looking at the feminine, looking at masculine right now as recognizing that there's a lot of masculine energy that is too afraid of partnership. They're not afraid. They'll pull away from partnership when things get difficult instead of leaning into them, i.e. not being ready for the divine union cycle. That's why, again, this is feminine energy basically saying right now in separation, the time for homework, the time for tutoring, is done. This is now a moment of like showing your work. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Fourth card in our 5-card spread is Page of Wands. We like to see this right now because yesterday we saw this in its reversal. Now, feminine energy right now, literally, this is how the feminine energy right now in separation is effectively closing the loop right now. And again, on any of the unhealed karmic energy that they may have carried forward at this time. This is feminine energy that is reaffirming to themselves, if in separation, that they are in fact looking. This is feminine energy reaffirming their conviction that they are looking for an equal balance partnership. The manifestation is the equal balance partnership. Feminine energy is now doing this karmic work right now of feeling, and this is why we see that a lot of feminine energy isn't moving towards masculine right now. Feminine feels like they are moving away from any masculine energy that they feel is not coming from a state or space of confidence, that this is masculine energy that effectively pulls away from feminine during the moments that feminine needs them most, as opposed to coming towards them when feminine effectively tries to articulate to masculine that they're in a space or place of an hour of need. Feminine energy in this vibration right now is effectively reaffirming to themselves anything that they're working away from, telling themselves that they're almost immediately healing from it in the process, because this is a feminine energy that's looking, again, not even from the masculine, at a space or place of anger, but more disappointment. This is almost a feminine saying, I wish that the masculine energy could be more brave. I wish that the masculine energy would come towards me with their problems instead of moving away from me when problems occur. And this is why feminine is almost immediately opening themselves up right now to new possibilities of partnership. But again, this is a moment of effectively identifying and feeling the fact that of a point of disappointment, because this is feminine effectively looking at an energy and saying, I would have desired to have partnership with someone, but they were too young. They were too energetically or spiritually young to be ready for the level and degree or intensity of divine commitment requires. And that's almost the feminine energy saying, I cannot, again, this is why feminine is healing this unhealed karmic energy. This is feminine literally going, I cannot make a tree grow out of an acorn. I can't make something rise up without its own determination to. Feminine's like, I can do everything I can to foster it and support it, but feminine's almost looking at this right now and saying the energy is not ready. The energy is not ready. It's still a seed. It's still a sapling. And feminine's effectively looking right now in separation and saying, I'm not looking for saplings. I'm looking for sequoias. I'm looking for a sequoia. I'm looking for the tree. The acorn is not the tree. This is feminine basically going, I need it to be a tree. I cannot make the masculine become a tree. So I just need to look for a tree. Or at least look for someone that is moving in the direction of a tree. Masculine and feminine energy right now that is moving into partnership. If the masculine is again having a moment, and I have to say, this is where it's going to come from. I need to see that there's at least a sapling here, is what the feminine's doing right now. If the masculine is having a moment of doubt or fear or uncertainty, if the masculine is moving towards feminine at this time, if the masculine is moving towards feminine and articulating their doubts, their fears, their uncertainties, what causes them to typically move away instead of towards the feminine. This is feminine that's almost immediately rushing forward to grab the masculine. Like again, remember when I said I gave the analogy of baby steps right now? This is literally a feminine energy that's like waiting for masculine and being like, please walk this way. Come on, you can do this. If the masculine moves in the opposite direction, feminine's like, I cannot help here. But if the masculine takes, like we're seeing here, it's like, this is like giving the energy of like, if a masculine even takes the first steps forward in this way, is able to articulate their fears, is able to articulate what they're feeling, even through that point of personal fear and anxiety and rejection in doing so. This is feminine that's almost like immediately opening their arms up to catch the masculine in that moment. Because this is a feminine that's almost affirming to themselves. And this is a feminine trying to come into partnership being like, we can do this. It's a small step. One small step. It's going to feel like one small step is like feminine being like, I'll take it. That's fine. That's fine. You're showing me that you have the ability to do this. This is beautiful. Keep walking this way. It's fine. We've got you. We'll carry you forward. Come on, right? That's a feminine. Again, if that's happening in divine union right now, that's feminine being like, thank God, this energy is moving into the divine union vibration. Okay, we can do this. I can work with this. Is feminine going, thank God, I can work with this. You're throwing me the bone I need. We can do this. If masculine energy is again feeling that sense of anxiety, fear pulling away, feminine's just like, I can't do anything here. This is not something I can help with. This is not, because the masculine's not giving the feminine anything to work with. And this is a feminine that says, I'm not going to force them to do this work. They need to show me, feminine saying, they need to be willing to take that journey. It's not, and this is going to feel like a point of catharsis for the energy and separation, because this is feminine going, I can't force them to grow. They have to want to grow. Okay? Masculine and feminine in divine union and partnership right now. This is that sense of, again, this is, and I got to stress right now for the feminine energy in divine union and partnership, it's going to feel like masculine needs a little bit of caretaking today. There's some inner child stuff coming up right now for the masculine energy. This is some unpacked stuff. There's some fear here and anxiety. There's some uncertainty here. Masculine's almost like looking towards a partnership right now for support, but this is giving a lot of inner child support. So there could be something feminine energy that you notice that masculine is like, you know, a little bit more, I want to articulate this as childlike today, a little bit more sensitive. We're seeing here that there's almost like a lot of this and this is what happens. This is something that you have to experience feminine energy and recognize. And when masculine energy balances their emotional, when they balance their emotional state, it makes them a bit more sensitive, right? It makes them a little bit more, it's almost like it makes them a little bit more childlike here. But again, this is a masculine energy that's expressing those needs. It's expressing those fears. Feminine energy may also be feeling like a lot of caretaker energy right now to masculine, if in divine union and partnership. But almost seeing this as a sense or a space of feeling the nurturing center coming through, because it's a moment of seeing that the masculine energy needs that like inner child healing today. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Masculine, you could be feeling like this a little bit today. You could be feeling a little like, I want to say like inner childy today. This could be a feeling right now that you're just feeling like you're like, you know, it's almost like I'm getting here, like almost an energy like, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to be a grown up. Like, I don't want to do these things. I just want to stay here in the part. It's almost, and I have to stress, there's almost something here of like masculine being like, I want to stay here in the divine union. I want to stay with you is almost like what's coming through right now, which is kind of a sweet vibration for the energy in divine union and partnership. Because it's, again, it's like that feeling of amplification of saying like how positive and productive and how supportive the divine union energy is in almost like creating that space or place of the masculine, almost just like wanting to continue to play in that space. I'm not surprised. We saw that the last couple days for divine union and partnership has been allowing for a lot of that decompression point. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Fifth card in our 5-card spread for today is, we've got here our 3 of Swords in its upright. Now, again, this is a little bit of a challenging space right now. And I'm going to stress, this is almost this moment that we're effectively seeing right now that has to do with the partnered energies, working on some of these wounds of the heart space. Masculine energy. Something is coming up today with inner child healing. There's something really important that's rising up potentially today with inner child healing. There's going to be, and I have to warn for the masculine energy in this vibration right now, there may be something that rises up today that is very triggering. It may be very triggering. It may be a reminder of something that occurred in childhood that needs some point of healing. And something about this right now is almost allowing you today some opportunity to work through healing this deeper inner child wound. But what's beautiful right now is for the energy right now that is in divine union and partnership. The partnership is allowing for that reflection point. It's allowing for that potentiality of healing to come in. And there's a moment right now, and I think that I need to express this. One of the problems, what did I just say? What did I say when we started this reading today? I said, a wound, I cannot heal it if I can't see it, right? It's really giving this moment right now, potentially, that's going to feel like a part of this like masculine and feminine energy today, where feminine is effectively like asking for them, like, you know, the masculine's got kind of this inner child wound. And that's where we see this hesitancy, because like the masculine energy is holding this inner child wound very like close to them. And this is almost this moment that we see a little bit of this release happening right now in partnership, in basically the partnership energy itself. Like the divine union energy itself is almost saying like, show me where it hurts. Show me where it hurts so that I can show you that it's not going to be a place where I'm going to take that pain and amplify it. I'm going to show you that we can heal it. I'm going to show you that we can fix it. But almost again, the conversation effectively in partnership right now is potentially operating in a state of space of saying, I need to see where it hurts. You need to show me where this pain lies so that we can put the healing there. Now, feminine energy right now that is in a point of, again, partnership. You may be seeing this on the part of the masculine right now. You may be noticing right now that masculine's feeling a little bit triggered. There's some anxiety that's potentially coming into play. But I need to stress and articulate that feminine, one of the important things in divine union that is very valuable to keep in mind is any of this trigger point that's potentially rising to the surface today, as long as it's being used in a productive fashion, is this point of recognizing that this is a moment or an opportunity that masculine is effectively having some expression of an inner child wound. The stress point for the feminine right now is potentially having a point of recognizing that this isn't necessarily something that the feminine has, well, and again, it's not that you haven't brought it out, the partnership's bringing it out. But again, it's the fact of feminine not like taking that personally, because there is a moment right now where the feminine energy may take this as a personal slight to see the masculine in this vibration, assuming that they are the source of it. So for the feminine energy right now, and the masculine, they're in divine union and partnership. The important point with the feminine is almost to move now in a bit more of a nurturing way, in terms of identifying and realizing that we're seeing here that some of this hurt that's coming out isn't necessarily something that is targeted towards you so much as it's an expression of masculine trying to show you something that is a very vulnerable point for them. So be sure that you're very careful and conscientious of this, feminine, and not necessarily take it as something like that feels more like something directed at you so much as something that they are showing you with the sense of feeling like you can potentially help them heal it. Masculine and feminine trying to move into partnership right now, this is exactly the problem that's potentially occurring. And again, if not taken in the right context, this could lead to a moment of separation. Why? Because if your inner child isn't healed right now, it's going to potentially have a really bad impact on the partnership, particularly divine masculine right now is what we're seeing. Though again, this is almost going to be a reflection point of anything that is unhealed in the feminine if trying to come into divine union and partnership. Why? Because there's potentially, I gotta say, these cards are all indicating the possibility of an abandonment wound being triggered. What's happening right now? Masculine energy, you're feeling triggered from something from childhood right now. You're expressing some kind of hurt or pain from childhood that is rising to the surface right now. Again, the masculine energy trying to move through partnership is going to push past their own boundary here. They're going to articulate to the feminine what they are feeling, what their fears are, what these anxieties are. They're going to use it as a moment of coming closer to feminine to show them where it hurts, giving feminine the opportunity to be on the same energetic frequency of them to be able to effectively help the masculine heal it. If that is occurring, welcome to divine union. You're continuing forward in the divine union vibration. While if the masculine energy right now is feeling that hurt and rather than moving towards the feminine is withdrawing, is pulling back, is holding the wound to themselves and moving away from feminine and not indicating to feminine that there has been a wound. This is feminine that is similarly being triggered by their own inner child wound of being abandoned by the masculine. So boom, we go back into unhealthy reflection point, but this is not a positive reflection point. This is potentially a negative one that's effectively happening. And it all starts with whether the masculine can go towards the feminine and express where it hurts. If the masculine energy cannot express where it hurts to the feminine right now, then this will be a moment right back into separation. Right back into separation. And this is a feminine energy that's not chasing the masculine back into that modality of separation. This is a feminine energy that is looking to masculine and saying they're not ready. They're not ready. They're acting like a hurt child. They're acting like a hurt child. And that's feminine being like, I cannot help you. I cannot help you. I cannot heal something you will not show me. Now, masculine and feminine in separation. And again, for the masculine energy in separation or moving into separation right now, this is going to be that moment. Because again, if you're moving back into separation and you're trying to come to partnership, this is a moment that I need to stress that the masculine, you may be, instead of embodying this lesson, instead of recognizing that this is a moment of overcoming your own fear, this is a moment of potentially looking at the partnership and being like, that's the source of the fear. That's what I need to move away from. That's where all my problems lie. That's where all my hurt lies. I don't like those feelings. Those feelings that the partnership is creating in me feel icky. They feel hard. I don't want it. I'm going away from it. It's too hurt. It hurts too much. That's, again, the masculine embodying this as a personal issue and just moving away from something for new opportunities because there's almost a point of carrying the wound and saying, that was too painful. It hurt too much. Feminine in separation. This is feminine going, I'm willing to hurt profoundly for the right partnership. I'm willing to hurt profoundly for the right situation. Feminine's energy or capacity to hold fast through difficult situations is profound. Their ability to maintain strength through difficult situations is profound. Okay? That is why the feminine is looking at this right now. And again, the feeling of pain is coming specifically from masculine energy that is moving away from the feminine instead of showing the feminine's energy ability to heal What hurts is profound. This is why the feminine energy right now is looking at masculine energy that has not navigated this, that has not realized this gift. And this is the feminine basically saying, I can't help you because you're not letting me help us. That this is the moment of moving into divine union, and you need to show me where it hurts if I'm going to heal it. And if you're not showing me where it hurts to heal it, then there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do to help you, because you are still in a moment where you want to carry your pain instead of letting that pain dissolve into the divine partnership. Of not letting, this is feminine saying, I wanted to heal them. This is almost the feminine looking right now at some partnership energy and saying, I wanted to heal them. I wanted to heal them. I wanted to heal us. But they didn't want to. They wanted to carry their pain themselves. And that's why the feminine is, again, allowing this to be a point of separation, while it is something that carries a lot of profound pain for the feminine. Because this is a feminine that is looking at the capacity and saying almost to themselves, this is why this journey is so hard for the feminine. Because this is feminine almost seeing that child in the masculine and knowing, almost saying to themselves, I know I have the capacity to help them fix that. I know I have the capacity to help us fix that. But they want to carry, it's almost like feminine looking and being like, they want to carry that pain themselves. They want to carry that hurt themselves, or worse, this is feminine saying, they want to say that I am the source of the pain instead of the source of the healing. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Between our Knight of Swords in its reversal in combination with our Hangman in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Six of Pentacles in its reversal. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now that is working through any of the issues around divine union and partnership. One of the things right now that is feeling so difficult is the fact that the masculine has a difficulty in terms of sharing in this way, in putting their burdens on others. This is almost masculine trying to articulate right now and effectively say, I don't like putting this weight on the feminine. I don't have a desire or degree of wanting to put this on the feminine. This is almost a masculine saying, I would rather have to carry this myself. I would rather allow myself to carry this. But it's almost a moment right now for the masculine, if going through that journey, if going through that moment of feeling the intensity and importance and power of divine partnership, in potentially recognizing their own ability or need not to to want to resist, to want to like hold force, to want to like keep their own self here. This is almost the masculine energy right now that is holding back and trying to say to themselves, you know, I don't want to have to put these burdens on the partnership. This is feminine energy almost articulating in divine union and partnership right now to masculine. This is not a burden. This is not a burden for you to be in this expression. This is not something that is difficult. This is feminine almost trying to articulate in divine union and say the only problem here is when you don't articulate this. It's almost like when you don't share in that capacity, when you close yourself off, when you effectively make this your burden, make this your fear instead of ours. This is effectively feminine saying that is feminine's greatest fear. That is almost saying feminine saying to masculine, that is feminine's greatest fear. That masculine will stop sharing it, will stop connecting, because feminine is recognizing and trying to show the value and importance of expressing where you are at, in sharing that capacity or level, of coming into that point. The divine union energy is struggling through this right now because, again, as I said, what did we say? The feeling right now that we're seeing is, again, masculine is holding a wound right now. And feminine's effectively saying, show me where it hurts so I can fix it. And masculine's going, I don't want to show it to you, right? There's something here about that inner childhood coming out. And feminine's going, I can only heal what you show me. Feminine and masculine trying to move into divine union and partnership right now. This is that moment that we're effectively seeing. And again, it's going to feel like a lot of that make or break point that's effectively being reached today. Because again, this is a masculine energy that is feeling the anxiety. It is feeling the doubt. It is feeling the fear. It feels that repressed urge to move away from the feminine because something's becoming too difficult. Masculine feels too vulnerable. That inner child wound is expressing itself today. And again, for the energy trying to come into divine union right now, this is effectively, again, a moment where feminine is effectively seeing masculine in this capacity. And again, the energetic equivalent of this is, again, feminine trying to articulate to masculine. This is almost feminine realizing, this is the worst part about it, feminine can't make the masculine open up in this capacity. Feminine can encourage and try to inquire, but they realize that there's a level or degree of the masculine just needing to be able to come forth to the feminine with these things. Especially if the masculine is just pulling away instead of coming forward. This is the feminine, again, they're waiting to see those baby steps from the masculine right now. Feminine sees exactly what is happening right now. Feminine recognizes and sees the inner child wound of the masculine that's potentially holding back at a point of distance from feminine due to their own fears. It's triggering to the feminine because that is the fear of the feminine. Feminine's greatest fear is the masculine that's going to withdraw and not come back again. That's where the feminine's own inner child wounds are coming through. And this is, again, a feminine energy that is resolving to themselves if in trying to come into the divine union vibration, that if a masculine isn't willing to show their vulnerability to the feminine, isn't willing to show the feminine where it hurts, then feminine can't do anything to help the masculine. Feminine can't do anything to help because that inability to show the feminine when it hurts, to show them the place that needs the healing, is the moment of the feminine recognizing that this is a masculine energy that is not ready for divine union and partnership, because this is a masculine energy that when they are feeling hurt, they will pull away from the divine union vibration. They will go back into separation. They will go back into their personal heroic journey as opposed to moving in the vibration of union. And this is a feminine that is effectively saying, I cannot do that. I cannot do that. I cannot move into a space or place wherein someone pulls away when they are feeling fear instead of moving towards me. This is feminine, and feminine is feeling potentially the heartbreak and seeing that. Now, if the masculine is doing this right now and potentially even saying to the feminine something related to the fact of are almost articulating and saying, I don't like putting these things on your doorstep. These are not your problems. This is feminine almost immediately amplifying to masculine the thing that feminine's been trying to amplify to them, which is these are obviously our problems. A problem with you is a problem with me. Something that you are experiencing is something that I am experiencing. This is feminine saying this is not a burden. When you express these things to me, it is a gift. It doesn't feel like something that requires a point of reciprocity. It's almost a feminine saying, I need to be the space and place where you can unburden these fears, not somewhere else. Because if it's somewhere else, then feminine is like, that's where your divine union lies. This is the feminine almost trying to help the masculine understand this, and that this is the vibration of divine union that the feminine is trying to navigate towards. Some of the energy right now, this is not necessarily going to happen, and it's going to feel like something of a painful moment because, again, this is masculine that potentially, and this is moving immediately back into separation because this is a masculine that's feeling that anxiety, that's feeling that doubt, that's feeling that fear. But instead of moving towards the partnership with those doubts and fears, they're looking at the partnership as the source of the doubts and fears. They're looking at the partnership as the source of the anxiety. And this is masculine that's potentially pulling back out into the separation vibration, holding on and refusing to reciprocate, refusing to give forth to the feminine, but instead just moving away, carrying their pain with them. Feminine energy that's seeing masculine do this. This is a moment which is why the feminine energy is not chasing after the masculine in this capacity, but maybe expressing their disappointment, maybe expressing that point in terms of seeing the fact that there's something about this related to the fact of the feminine effectively saying they're not ready. Feminine's again in separation. This is the feminine healing the karmic bond by saying that energy was not ready for partnership because they could not reciprocate. They did not understand the importance that divine union is built on reciprocity and communication, even around things that are difficult. This is that point that we're effectively seeing, that feminine is effectively again saying, I can only help you if you show me how I can help. I can only heal you if you show me what needs to be healed. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Hangman and its reversal in combination with our Two of Cups. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Seven of Pentacles in its reversal. And this is the problem with the feminine right now. This is the pain. This is the agony of the feminine right now. This is the wounded sacred heart, because what are we effectively seeing here? This is a moment that we are identifying that the feminine is looking towards masculine and effectively saying, I don't have the ability or the time to bring you into this state of growth. I don't have the ability or the time to bring you into that point of maturation. This is why the feminine energy, if they're not seeing this expression in the masculine, they're simply letting it go. Because as I said, this is a feminine energy saying, I cannot make a tree from an acorn. I cannot take something that is in one modality and turn it into another. The acorn needs to have the desire to turn into a tree. The sapling needs to have a desire to grow into what it wants to grow into. And it's that moment right now of feminine basically walking away from something from the point of pain, deep sacred pain, in looking at something and saying to themselves, I am ready to come into union, potentially even with an energy that they see in this modality. But it is the pain of seeing it and saying, it is not there. It is not emotionally and spiritually ready to meet me in that point of equality, to meet me in that point of emotional and spiritual balance. We are not in the same space on our journey because the energy is still moving with the vibration of emotional immaturity, spiritual immaturity, holding to the inner child wound, carrying their own pain, instead of recognizing that a divine union requires that when one is feeling hurt, one does not pull away from the partnership, they bring it forth. So this is that moment that we are effectively seeing is very again, a lot of pain for a feminine going through this, but also a sense of recognizing that they themselves are doing what is necessary right now, because the feminine is holding on to the fact that their mission is to find the balanced energy. The feminine energy's own journey has changed right now, not into guiding the energy up, but into finding the energy that is already at a point of equality and balance. This is why the feminine energy is going through a moment right now of releasing a lot of these unhealed karmic attachments, because this is a feminine energy saying, I cannot make a tree from an acorn. I cannot do that. The acorn has to have that potentiality. It has to at least, and again, this is a feminine energy that's literally saying, if the acorn shows the smallest sapling of doing this, then that's going to be enough for the feminine. This literally the feminine going, even if it is a small sprout. Feminine's watching the masculine in this. Feminine's literally watching and saying, even if I see the smallest tendril of growth, feminine's okay, but this is feminine going, it's either there or it's not. And feminine saying, I cannot wait. I cannot wait anymore for that. Masculine and feminine that are moving into divine union and partnership. If feminine's seeing this right now, it is feeling like an overabundant moment of relief. Like an overabundant moment of relief. It's going to feel like immediate catharsis. If this is a masculine that is finally coming towards you, expressing their fears, expressing their doubts, expressing their problems, expressing their anxieties, even if they're in relation to the partnership, because this is a feminine going, oh, thank God. This is a feminine energy seeing the fruits of the labor. This is feminine energy going, thank goodness, they got it. They're there. Okay, good. This is good. It's small. It needs to be cared for. It needs to be nurtured. We can work with this. This is going to be like a viable space and place that growth can occur. This is feminine immediately feeling like a wave of relief if the masculine moves forward in this way, because feminine is going, thank goodness, like the trial is over. The hurdle has been reached. This is showing the viability of a divine union. Masculine energy in moving into partnership right now. This is that moment that if you are unburdening yourself, if you are unburdening your doubts and fears to the feminine, this is also a moment potentially that you're going to feel like you've really kind of deepened the bond of masculine and feminine energy right now, because it's going to feel like this like wash of healing. It's almost going to feel like this moment of immediate catharsis, because it's this moment that you're going to feel like you're unburdening yourself of your doubts and fears to feminine. And feminine is immediately kind of coming there to catch you as you fall. It's feminine immediately recognizing the hurdle that it took to be able to do that. And this is feminine that's realizing that you are abandoning your own personal mission, your own personal like blinders, your own personal like narrow path to be able to move into divine union. And they're immediately, it's like they're catching you as you fall, like as you come off of that like cross that you've put yourself on in hurting yourself and just hurting yourself for no apparent reason. This is the feminine energy being like, the partnership does not require you to be on a self-sacrificing journey. The partnership is one that will be there to catch you when it feels like it is too heavy. And that is that moment that we are effectively seeing, that for the divine union energy, this is that moment of seeing the beauty of the partnership being there to catch you in that capacity. Now, masculine and feminine energy that are in separation, this is that moment that, again, for the divine union energy, you know this to be true. You know this to be true. You know this to be true because we are seeing for the divine union energy, this is that moment that we are effectively recognizing that for masculine and feminine energy that are in this modality, we are effectively seeing that for the divine union energy, there's a moment that you immediately feel this point of restoration. You immediately feel like you are in that space or place. The funny part about this right now is almost masculine energy not wanting to do anything that takes them away from the divine union or partnership, because like the divine union and partnership feels like it is so perfect. It feels like it is so ideal. It feels like it is the supportive system right now. Everything else around can like, it's like that's a masculine right now. Masculine's like, I don't want to deal with anything else right now. I don't want to deal with anything else. I just want to stay here with you. That's almost the energy we're getting right now with the energy of the divine union, because it's almost amplifying. And in a way, it's kind of cute because feminine's seeing masculine right now in divine union, almost like a little child that's almost like finding reasons or excuses not to do things just because they want to be a little bit closer to the feminine, right? Just to be a little bit closer, just a little bit longer, right? Now, energy right now that's in separation, this is the feminine having that point of affirmation though. Now for masculine in separation, this is going to feel like a moment of personal growth. This is going to feel like a moment of personal completion. This is going to feel like a moment that we are effectively identifying, wherein we are seeing that, again, there's something about feeling like you need to come into a point of maturation. Now, again, this is either going to express itself in one of two different modalities. This is either the modality of masculine right now, that again, we see that a lot of the masculine separation right now, you've been leaning right now in a lot of the healthy karmic energy that may have already found this to a certain extent. This is a lot of that energy that's effectively identifying or seeing right now kind of the difference in how you kind of move and live your own life versus how the energy in divine union and partnership do. And this is almost this moment where, again, there's been this kind of assessment right now for masculine that may be feeling like learning something a little like it's almost like the maturation process is feeling almost like a sense, it's bringing with it a sense of anxiety, because it's almost a feeling right now of masculine feeling like maybe it's coming in a little too late. maybe it's a moment where, again, you're ready for it. It seems like for a lot of the masculine energy and separation right now, there could be a moment that either from the tangible reason, and again, this is why it's either going to feel like an external situation or an internal one. This is either masculine energy if this is more of a lighthearted journey of separation. This is masculine feeling like your options have disappeared. Your options have vanished. Like, where did everybody go? Where did everybody go? It's like your options have vanished. And this is that moment that, again, you're almost moving right now in this space or place of trying to come into partnership right now, because it's like suddenly you realize where the gift lies. Suddenly you realize that that is where the gift is coming into that divine union and divine partnership. That is that moment that you're seeing, and it's almost like that recognition point of being like, and it almost may feel like I need to find someone soon. And that's going to be a little bit more problematic, because that's not necessarily going to realize that this is a journey of the self that you need to amplify and articulate to get into that point. This is almost a masculine being like, I better find someone soon because there's nobody else around. That's going to feel much more like a shallow journey. The deeper journey that's happening right now in terms of the masculine energy and separation is this moment of identifying and recognizing that maybe the way you've been moving has been a little one-sided. Maybe the way you've been moving in terms of feeling like this is a journey of like a wounded inner child, of carrying your own hurt, of being persecuted, of experiencing the world from a side that feels very polarizing, is potentially what is healing within you. Because it's almost recognizing the fact that there is an alternate path, that there's a path that does not require you to sacrifice yourself constantly under the weight and the pain of your own persecution, but instead is one where you can share that burden. You can share that pain. You can share that with the energy around you, and that the energy will be there to carry you through those moments. That when those moments come that you feel that sense of fear to move away from something, if you are able to move towards it, if you are able to move towards the feminine, if you're able to open up in that expression, then that is going to be there for you. And this is almost creating an almost internal shift right now if you're experiencing this, because it's immediately allowing that sense of understanding and growth. But it's changing from the perception shift. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Two of Cups in combination with our Page of Wands. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with Devil energy. Okay. Masculine and feminine energy right now. One of the hardest things to navigate as it relates to divine union and divine partnership is, again, just working through moments or situations and circumstances right now of balance. There's going to be a lot of work right now in terms of like finding the balance point in divine union and partnership, because again, it's almost like, and it feels like a little bit of that, like, it feels like a little bit of that moderation, because the partnership itself is almost something that needs to be moderated to a certain extent. Because again, for divine union and divine partnership at this moment, it's like that need or that desire to just kind of pull into the partnership itself may not necessarily be like the most positive thing at this moment. It almost may feel like it's pulling away from some obligations, from some situations. And in that way, it almost needs to be navigated to a certain extent. Feminine, I need to stress right now. I have to stress that in divine union and partnership right now, this could be a moment of having to say to the masculine, listen, you have to we do still have things we need to do. There's responsibilities here. And this could almost be the feminine. I need to stress for some of the feminine energy right now in divine union. You may be looking at the masculine right now and feeling a little bit like they're acting like a little bit like, it's almost like this more nurturing energy of feeling a little bit like the masculine's acting like a little bit of like a child. But and again, it's the important thing that is about it being a good or bad thing, right? Because this is a masculine energy that, again, they are expressing. And this is what's so important about this. This is what is so important about the feminine, making sure that they take what the masculine is giving them right now and not viewing it in the wrong way. Okay? And it's also really important, even divine union right now, not to let this be a trigger point All right, why? Because we're seeing here that there's something about the divine union energy right now where masculine is feeling triggered. There's some kind of internal childhood wound that's rising to the surface right now that needs to be effectively healed. Now, positive divine union energy, this may even express itself in some ways right now for feminine, where you may be feeling like the masculine is acting a little bit more childlike or a little bit more sensitive. But what we're really seeing here is this is a masculine energy. And again, it's really important that the feminine energy doesn't take what the masculine brings them right now and looks at it in a context that feels like it is targeting them, but instead recognizing here that this is masculine almost bringing up something that needs to be healed. And again, it's going to be kind of a moment right now, and it may require a little bit of articulation, careful articulation on the point of the feminine energy, bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to, in terms of recognizing something that, again, was either some kind of hurt from the past that needs to be healed. And I think, and this is what we need to be very cautious of today, okay? Because one of the things that's happening right now in this expression is something that, again, there's a possibility or potentiality that something from masculine energy's own childhood rises up right now. And it is really important that it isn't a reinforcement of something that hurt them, that it is in fact a point of articulation on how this is not that this is not a space that's going to wound them in this capacity. This is a space that's going to heal them. Feminine, whatever this is right now, this could be seeing a certain extent of masculine right now. And this is why we have to be cautious, because feminine, this is also very triggering to your own inner child wounds. So it's really important right now for any of the energy that's navigating this right now, not to let yourself feel triggered, but also almost to see each other as children that are navigating or expressing something that is feeling a deeper wound that needs to be healed. This is coming through right now in the divine union partnership, but I will point out the possibility here. The possibility for triggers is very high. So make sure that you're like listening, following your better angels right now as you navigate some of this, so that you don't necessarily repeat any of the same things that may have caused the harm in the first place. Now, masculine and feminine energy moving into divine union and partnership right now, this is exactly why we are seeing that this is a moment that is speaking to a being a make or break moment as it relates to divine union, because what we are effectively experiencing right now is a feminine energy that is seeing a masculine begin to pull away. They're feeling that anxiety point. Masculine energy's expression of fear is rising to the surface. What happens when we have fear, guys? What happens when we have fear? Unhealthy coping mechanisms, bad modalities of thought, unhealed karmic connections, okay? This is ripe right now for the picking, because this is a moment that we see masculine is feeling this fear, and there is an opportunity right now to see if this is a lesson that has been learned. And the lesson that is being learned right now is recognizing and identifying if this is a moment or opportunity wherein masculine moves to the feminine, moves towards the feminine, articulates the fear, articulates the anxiety, or if the masculine pulls away. If the masculine pulls away, if the masculine holds on to that hurt, if the masculine tries to hide that hurt, if the masculine tries to, or potentially worse, takes that feeling of fear and targets it at the partnership, says this is where the fear is coming from, this is where the hurt, this is where the damage is coming from, this is the problem. This is that moment that we are effectively seeing. And to a certain extent, this is not feminine that's going to chase after masculine to get them to learn this lesson. This is feminine energy that is looking at masculine in this vibration and saying, you're not healed. You're not healed. I can't fix this. You're not healed. Okay? Now, masculine and feminine that are moving through this right now, this is why this is this moment right now for feminine that's almost saying to feminine, is almost trying to say to masculine, show me where the hurt lies. Show me where the pain is, so that we can heal this together. Please. I need to see even the smallest spark that this is something that can happen. You need to show it to me. And if not, this is effectively feminine basically saying, this is never going to be equal. This is never going to be an equal partnership. This is always going to hurt me. This is always going to keep us in a low vibration. This is always going to keep us in a space where you run away and I'm caught here waiting. This is almost the feminine saying, this is almost the feminine looking at this right now and choosing and saying, this is like, this could either be perfect. This could be, and this is why it's going to feel so difficult right now for the energy of partnership, because this is a moment of feminine trying to articulate and saying, we are so close. This could be perfect, or this could be awful. This could be the best thing, or this could be the worst thing. And it's entirely up to whether the masculine is ready to step into it and meet the feminine at this time, or if the masculine is going to use that same feeling of fear and express this in ways that feels like it is not positive, it doesn't feel productive. It feels like it almost becomes controlling from their own sense of withdrawal. And this is that moment of feminine, effectively, again, if that's happening, almost immediate separation. But even more so, this is no longer even a moment right now of feminine looking to heal something. This is feminine looking at masculine and saying, I can't heal this because you're choosing it. You're choosing your pain. You're choosing your fear. You're choosing your doubt over the partnership. And that's why we're seeing that this is a feminine that's almost immediately moving into separation and affirming to themselves in the process, I need to heal from this energy because I can't heal this energy. I now need to heal from this energy. And what's difficult about this is feminine is now looking at this potentially, if this is a masculine that's done this, that is holding back in terms of that expression, and seeing that the masculine is the source of the pain because the feminine is now feeling the expression of someone who wants to move towards them but won't let go of their own hurt. They won't let go of their own pain, will almost reflect the pain on the partnership instead of realizing that the partnership is where the pain can heal. Masculine that's in working into coming to partnership right now, this is that moment that you may, and this is the thing with the masculine and partnership at this moment, this could be an observation point in seeing this characteristic in yourself. This is a moment right now of observation where masculine, you may be feeling that desire in you. You may be feeling this right now as a moment where you're almost feeling, and again, depending on how you're experiencing this, depends on how it's happening. You're feeling a moment right now where the partnership itself is triggering. The partnership itself is what's bringing this fear up. The partnership itself is bringing this anxiety up. And again, this is either a moment for masculine where you're pushing through your own fear towards the partnership, beyond. This is that point of strength, almost like, again, moving through the darkness into the light, coming into a point of saying, you know, I'm afraid, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm afraid, but I'm going to do it anyway. And this is the masculine potentially bringing those difficulties to the feminine at this time. And this is the moment that feminine is effectively receptive to it. And that's going to lead to divine union, because feminine is almost saying to masculine, there is nothing that you cannot bring to my door that we cannot heal. There's nothing you can bring to my door that we cannot heal. While for the other part of the masculine right now, this is a moment of masculine potentially not being able to embody this lesson, but instead utilizing the partnership as a reflection point of where the source of the fear is from, where the source of the hurt is. And this is a moment of masculine effectively looking at something and again, moving back into separation vibration. And feminine's letting them, because feminine's saying, I can't fix that. This is an energy that whenever things go wrong, they're going to see me as the source of the pain instead of the solution. Feminine energy in separation. This is why we see the fact right now that there is this moment, new feminine energy in separation. They're not waiting. They're not waiting for energy to come back around. They're almost leaving themselves immediately open right now to new opportunities, new experiences, because feminine energy is effectively at this moment right now where they're looking at energy that they may feel connected to and saying, it's painful. I have to heal from it. That energy's not ready. There's nothing I can do about it. And it's almost this moment right now of feminine, again, trying to just kind of push that down, push that away while they're allowing new energy to come in. The only problem with it right now is feminine energy is like allowing new possibility of energy to come towards them. And they're effectively just utilizing it right now as a moment of assessment to see if the masculine energy that's coming towards them, even in new opportunities right now, is in a space or place that they are committed to trying to find divine union and partnership, or if they're just coming towards them to fulfill their own needs and their own desires. Masculine energy in separation right now, this is a moment that you may be doing a lot of work in terms of deciding how you are going to proceed forward from this point. Because there is a moment right now for masculine energy where there is a point right now of looking at things very objectively. And this could have a lot to do with some of the energy from your past or the possibilities around you right now. Because what we are really identifying at this moment is this is a masculine energy that is seeing things from a new perspective. This is almost a masculine energy, if in separation right now, is doing this work of self-assessment, in seeing the difference in going towards partnership that feels like it is unhealed, that brings up the unhealthy coping mechanisms of bad modalities of thought, versus, and this could be something that the masculine is now feeling like they're trying to it's like they're witnessing it, they're seeing it within the self right now. There's some kind of personal observation point. And at the same time, it is being articulated either from, again, masculine energy, realizing and recognizing or seeing around them right now, energy that is in divine union, that is in divine partnership. Masculine energy in separation right now is this moment. There's like a literally, it almost feels like taking notes, if you will, is like looking towards others. And again, this is either happening on a metaphysical level or on a very practical level, like literally just around energy right now that's giving you some kind of indication on notes on what is the difference between some of the partnerships that you've been creating or moving in that feel like they're not healthy versus the ones that feel like they are balanced. And you're starting to see the reciprocity, the coming together when things are difficult instead of moving apart that may have been escaping you prior to this point. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Between, and it's almost masculine in separation, having that point of consideration and saying, well, which direction do I want to move into right now? Do I want to move into that divine union and partnership, or do I want to continue to kind of follow my own desires and my own needs? The problem right now, masculine, if you're in this modality, it's looking like that. You're seeing it that way. Continuing to get clarification right now between our Page of Wands in combination with our Three of Swords. Clarification coming through right now. Knight of Pentacles in its reversal. Now, masculine and feminine energy, even in partnership right now, there is a moment that we are effectively seeing to a certain extent. Masculine, you're just very much inhabiting that inner child moment right now. There's almost this energy right now of masculine that is working through a lot of these things right now. And what we're effectively seeing at this time is this moment of masculine doing a lot of work right now to nurture the inner child. The thing that's difficult about this right now, especially for the energy of divine union or energy that's in divine union, is that there's something effectively coming up today that feels like a point of profound frustration for the masculine, because there's almost a wound here, an observed wound that is occurring that feels like it is beyond your own capacity to heal. It's coming through in the divine union energy. Again, it's almost this moment, and it's going to kind of express itself right now for the divine union energy as this moment that we are identifying that the masculine energy is effectively at a moment where it's like they need to lean on the feminine. They need to lean on the feminine. They're not necessarily sure what to do. They're trying to get that point. Right? And this is either happening on a very tangible level right now or a very metaphysical level. This is almost, again, the divine union partnership right now. Feeling that sense of anxiety, expressing that point of anxiety to feminine. And feminine is, again, in divine union and divine partnership, is holding space for where the masculine is holding space for it. Even if there's a moment right now, I think that a lot of energy, even in divine union right now, it may feel a little complicated as it relates to how the feminine is navigating the masculine right now. Because again, this is feminine going through that point of expression right now. of, again, saying to the masculine in divine union and partnership, if you don't show it to me, I can't heal it. If you don't bring it to me, I can't fix it. Okay? So this is feminine having that point of articulation right now, again, to masculine in divine union and divine partnership. This could even be a moment right now of, again, and I feel like there is something really important here. I got to stress, I got to even mention for the energy and divine union and partnership right now, there could be something that feels a little triggering right now. Because there's something here of the masculine bringing something to the feminine right now that may feel like it is a masculine that's not necessarily able to rise to an obligation that they have right now, given the fact that some of this inner child wound is coming up. It's really important right now for the feminine energy in divine union and partnership to see this as a moment of masculine being in a moment that they need some healing, as opposed to getting caught on the fact that there may be some adjustments to like some of the practical needs today that may be needed to be accommodated for, given the fact that some of these inner child wounds are coming up. Now, masculine energy in this vibration, you're just feeling this. The energy that's trying to come into partnership at this moment, what we are effectively seeing is this point of observation right now. Again, this is feminine energy feeling the full weight of what they're potentially getting right now from masculine, because again, there's something here, and this is why it's so triggering right now. This is why the potentiality to move back into the separation vibration is so high right now, because what we're effectively seeing at this moment is, again, feminine energy is seeing a masculine energy that's in pain. The feminine energy can see that the masculine energy is in pain. The feminine energy can see that the masculine energy isn't bringing it forward to the feminine. The feminine energy is literally waiting and watching to see if the masculine energy can bring this to the feminine, can show them where it's hurting so that they can heal it. And this is becoming a bit of, again, a zero-sum game for the feminine, because feminine is literally saying to the masculine right now, trying to come into divine union, show me any sign. Show me any sign that you can do this. Show me the barest sprout. Show me the smallest sapling that you have this ability to come towards me when you are feeling pain instead of pulling away. And we can continue forward on the divine union path. And if this is a masculine that is continuing to withhold, which is continuing to withhold their feelings, which is continuing to withhold their emotions, this is feminine saying, we're done. This is feminine saying, I can't. There's something here. This is feminine breaking away and saying, this hurts too much. Seeing you hold back hurts too much, because you're effectively creating pain. You're feeling pain and you're not letting me heal it, and you're creating pain in me because I have to feel the results. I have to experience the expression of your pain that you are amplifying on me by withdrawing from me instead of coming towards me. And this is feminine saying, I need to heal from you. This is feminine allowing in new energy, almost immediately moving back into separation, because feminine's looking at something and saying, I need to heal from the energy that wasn't able to come towards me in the moment when they need, like in their darkest hour, instead of pulling away. That is that moment here, okay? This is that point that we're effectively identifying and recognizing that feminine is seeing this. And again, it is that moment that feels like that wounded heart energy. The pain of carrying, the pain of the wounded heart is the pain of seeing something that you cannot heal. It's feeling that sense of something that you cannot heal. You just have to hold the pain of it. So for feminine right now, this is that moment of, again, moving forward, but with that pained heart. Because this is a point of, again, having to recover or heal from someone that you hoped would move towards you to heal something and is effectively pulled away. But feminine is, again, feminine's walking and chewing gum here. Feminine energy has this amazing ability. Again, feminine's capacity for pain is unlimited to a certain extent. Feminine's ability to bear that pain while also moving forward right now is what we're effectively seeing. Feminine, again, is not letting themselves chase after that. Feminine is accepting it, even though it causes them pain right now, and moving forward to allow themselves new opportunities. But with that moment of, again, telling themselves that the reason they're moving away from something is because an energy is showing them that they are not ready, and the feminine cannot bring them to being ready. Okay. Now, masculine and that is in separation right now this is that moment that you're potentially feeling a lot of weight of this pain. This is a moment that masculine, a lot of your inner child wounds are potentially rising to the surface right now, but there might be a point of observation that's effectively happening right now in terms of your own culpability and where you might find yourself at this time. Because there's almost a moment where we're potentially seeing, or there's a point of observation in the sense of masculine recognizing a lack or ability of being steadfast, a lack or ability of being constant. And masculine, what you're potentially recognizing right now that is the separation point between you and the energy that's in divine union is the consistency. It is the consistency. Because what we are effectively seeing here is, again, a moment of recognizing that it is the inconsistency of being able to be there, regardless of whether something is in a good or a bad place. That when you are not constant, when you're not a constant gardener, nothing is going to grow. Nothing is going to grow. And this is the masculine energy that may be feeling the weight in some way, shape, or form of feeling like there was something here that you are not a constant gardener on. You are potentially recognizing that lack or ability to be steadfast in that way is something that you are personally working on healing right now. Or if this is on the other vibration right now, this is a moment that masculine is now potentially trying to come forward to a certain extent, trying to come towards feminine. But it is now a moment that, again, there's some anxiety about trying to come towards feminine right now and feeling like that anxiety about, this is where the fear comes in again, whether what you're willing to bring forward to feminine right now will actually be received. Because there's something here about, again, realizing now what you need to bring to the feminine. Now, for some of the vibration of masculine right now, this is taking a lot of soul searching. And for some of the masculine energy right now, I will say that this could potentially bring you into some lower vibrational energy if you're not careful. Because this is a moment that if you look at yourself from the point of view of a victim, if you look at yourself from the point of view of an wounded inner child, you may be missing the lesson in recognizing that ability to carry one's own hurt, to like look at yourself on a persecution cycle, instead of one trying to come into balance, is effectively what needs to effectively be healed. Because that's you, again, carrying your own hurt instead of bringing it forward, and it's amplifying that pain right now. Okay? Again, this is a masculine energy that is potentially recognizing their own ability to put themselves in a persecution cycle, but not recognizing that that persecution cycle may be self-created. And that this is a moment that you need to show someone that expression of pain. You need to put your hand out if you want to be healed. Continuing to get clarification right now on these cards between our Six of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Seven of Pentacles in its reversal. My one card, woof, flying out. We love this. Beautiful. We've got here our Six of Wands in its upright. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now that are working through, that are in divine union and partnership vibration. What we are effectively seeing is this moment that feels like it's going to feel like a lot of relief. Because again, there's a moment, and the only problem here, the only problem with the divine union energy right now is this feeling of, again, having to navigate some feelings of success, having to navigate what feels like it is productive versus what feels like it's not. Again, masculine is holding back to a certain extent. Thank you for that gift. Masculine is holding back to a certain extent. Okay? Masculine is navigating that need or that feeling. And I need to say, this is a moment, even for the divine union energy, that has to speak a lot about having that sense of empathy for one another right now. Because we are effectively seeing that this is that moment of feeling some level of degree of impatience or even feeling some anxiety about reciprocity coming into play. Masculine, this could be a moment that you're potentially feeling like the weight of the burden in terms of your own doubts and fears right now, almost feeling that need for some kind of release valves, needing some kind of change to occur. There may be some inner child wounds that are rising to the surface right now around your own ability to be able to create that point of stability through something that you're experiencing that you're not necessarily feeling an ability to heal. It's something that you're just kind of seeing and you're not able to like effectively do anything with. Feminine is effectively, you're seeing a masculine in this modality right now. You're going through a moment right now where you're seeing that the masculine is feeling a bit more in that point where they're not able to come forward in this way. They're not able to be as supportive in this moment. They're almost like moving back into their inner child energy. And again, this could express itself. I have to stress this. Some of the feminine energy in partnership right now, this could be expressed through some point of impatience being reached, right? It's almost like, what do you do when a child is in a childlike form? Do you get impatient with them, or do you create a space or place where you help them, right? So this is a bit of that moment right now of having to navigate each other's triggers that may rise to the surface right now in divine union and partnership, because there's a bit of a sensitivity motion that's happening here, and also a feeling of lack. Reciprocity today, even in divine union, is very, very important, because that's what's going to lead to that point or opportunity of focusing on the positive, focusing on the victories, focusing on what you're trying to achieve at this time. Now, masculine and feminine that is moving into divine union and partnership at this time. What we are effectively observing at this point is a point of recognition that, again, feels like a bit, this is that make or break moment. This is that make or break moment, and it's going to feel very heavy for feminine at this time, because this is the expression of feminine hitting a bit of that like zero sum. This is feminine basically saying to masculine, I can't wait for you to learn how to do this. I can't wait to learn how to do this. I need you to understand that you need to come into a space or place of either recognizing that you know how to do this or you don't. You know how to have this ability to give back in kind. You know how to have this ability of giving forth. This is that moment that we see that feminine's either saying it's there or it's not. Masculine is either opening up, taking their pain, bringing it to feminine, being on the same vibration, or they're not. Feminine is feeling the weight of basically saying, like almost a masculine energetically, it's now or never. This could be our point. This could be our greatest victory or the end of everything. This could be that moment where everything begins, or this is a moment of walking away from everything. And it all depends on what the masculine is bringing to the feminine right now. If masculine is feeling those doubts and fears and pulling away, then this is the ending of that. If masculine takes those doubts and fears and brings them forward to feminine, then this is the opening of that new chapter that's moving into deeper divine union energy. Masculine, if you're in this modality right now, this is basically you pushing through your own fear. This is a moment right now, and again, for some of the masculine moment expression, this is a moment of, again, facing your own fear as it relates to reciprocity, as it relates to opening up. For the energy that's doing this, and this is what's important about it, it's not that you feel inclined to do it. It's not like you feel like you desire to do it. You feel to a certain extent like you must do it. You feel to a certain extent that it must be done. You feel like this is what you must do. And you're pushing through that feeling because you're saying to yourself, I have to. I have to be able to do this. I need to move towards this. This is the masculine energy, again, realizing and recognizing to a certain extent that this is like a point where, and again, you're almost feeling the fact that some of the feminine energy right now, they're not waiting. They're not going to wait. They're not going to wait for you to open in this way. And it's almost like it's feeling a lot of that anxiety that's potentially coming into play too. Again, this is either masculine energy that's taking this as an opportunity to say to feminine, these are my anxieties, these are my doubts, these are my fears, these are my things that I'm worried about. And it's almost immediately leading to a point of victory, because feminine is almost basically saying, I am always feeling like that. I always feel like that. I feel the same way. This is feminine almost immediately amplifying the minute that this is expressed to the feminine saying, yeah, me too. Why do you think I'm here? Why do you think I'm going through this with you? Again, feminine almost saying like, took you long enough. right? It's almost like feminine going, if this is happening on the other side, feminine's going, took you long enough. Welcome, right? Now, masculine, and the other part of the masculine energy right now, if this is occurring, this is a moment that you're continuing to hold back. You're continuing to hold back on the fear, the anxiety. And again, this is that moment potentially for masculine energy in this modality that is almost expressing itself as like a downright refusal to open up in that way in divine union, to come into that space or place or vibration of divine union. And almost like immediately turning your back on the potentiality of a divine union towards new spaces and places. Now for feminine energy right now that is seeing this is again a moment that feminine is just effectively closing off those karmic cycles. If this is energy that's moving away from them rather than moving towards them. Because this is again, and this is why we see that this is such a finalization of this karmic cycle. This is feminine energy that is effectively looking at masculine and almost saying to themselves that they see a masculine energy that is not interested in investing in the partnership. It's not investing in reciprocity. It is an energy that only moves towards what feels like it is their own personal accomplishments, their own personal victories, their own, again, the isolated journey of carrying their own grief, their own burdens, and also their own successes. It's feeling like, again, it's the idea of feminine looking at a masculine energy that feels, and this is why the feminine is moving away or healing from this. It's almost seeing the fact that this is a masculine energy that is so focused on their own personal autonomy, on their own personal journey of accomplishment, that they're literally making the choice against being in a divine union cycle. And that is that moment that feminine says, I am not going to wait for a masculine energy that is still caught in this personal fable about their own pain, their own difficulty. This is a feminine saying, I'm not here for it. This is feminine saying, I need to move forward to find my own path, and that path is one that feminine is seeking for divine union, potentially. But also, I will stress right now that this is, again, a feminine energy that's leaving themselves open to it, but not necessarily in a modality where it's something that they're chasing after it. This is literally a feminine that's almost telling themselves in separation that their job right now, if they're moving in a space or place of separation, is simply to, again, concentrate on themselves and their own sense of accomplishment, because they're not necessarily invested on waiting for energy to be able to match them in kind. This is feminine literally saying, I'm going to continue forward on my journey. I'm going to continue to do the things that are best for me. I'm going to continue forward in this way. It's not that feminine is desiring to do this in this capacity, but feminine is effectively looking this at the point and space of saying, I'm not going to let myself get stuck. Not going to let myself get stuck in spaces or places that are not reciprocal as it relates to partnership. And feminine is saying, I don't have time to waste in that capacity. Masculine, if in separation right now, this is that moment that, again, it's taking this point and it's going to feel like a little bit anxiety inducing, because this is a moment right now, masculine, that you may be feeling a full weight of energy around you. Not necessarily being as inclined to be reciprocal. You're almost feeling like, again, for masculine energy right now, could be feeling of like some energy right now that feels like it's not as open to you as it potentially was. It's almost this feeling right now, if in separation, there's this point or this aspect in recognizing that anxiety point in terms of not being sure what to do and not feeling that point of reciprocity. And this is that moment for masculine where you're trying to potentially seek out that path to success. The problem for masculine right now is either this is going to feel like more of an externalized, anxiety-induced journey, or it's going to be a moment that feels like a personal journey of the self. If it is externalized, this is going to be masculine energy looking around and feeling the frustration of energy, just not being accommodating, just not being available, just not really feeling like there is open. And this is almost masculine energy asking themselves at this time, not being completely sure what is happening. Not being completely sure, not being able to even understand, and almost feeling the frustration in the fact that it's hard to find energy right now that feels like it is reciprocal. But again, working right now and potentially really focusing on what you feel is going to lead to your own personal sense of accomplishment. This almost could be why, though. You can almost be seeing that this is the reason why, because this is energy that we're almost identifying feels like you are potentially very much driven on that in such a way that makes it a point that it is a personal journey. Now, feminine, masculine energy that is recognizing this within the self, this could be a moment that you are seeing yourself. You're taking this moment of consideration. You are being mindful of it. You are recognizing this. You are seeing effectively a situation or circumstance wherein you recognize that, again, it's not necessarily a point or space where you have been constant. There's something here that's been showing a lack or degree of consistency around some circumstances or situations, which may be the reason that we see that there's some of this withdrawal energy here. And this is that moment that we are effectively identifying that you are potentially realizing that this breakthrough is coming through in terms of identifying and seeing this quality and characteristic within the self that is allowing for some point of breakthrough. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Seven of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with. Now for the masculine and feminine energy right now, that is in divine union and partnership. This is effectively more of that make or break point. This is effectively, again, feminine saying, I can't make you do this. You either do it or you don't. While for the energy right now that's in divine union and partnership, this is a moment that may feel like a bit of a struggle point, because what we're really seeing right now in divine union and partnership is this moment that, again, you're both effectively triggering one another. There's some point right now that may be reached, and it has to require a lot of potential empathy. Because what we're effectively seeing right now is, again, masculine is in a point where they kind of need assistance. Feminine is feeling a little bit indisposed with that right now. There's a possibility of some triggers being hit. Focusing right now on what brings a way to reach those personal victories is going to really effectively help identify whether there's going to be a point or a situation of long-term success here. And it's going to be kind of reliant right now on making sure that you're keeping the focus on that sense of victory or success. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Six of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Devil energy. This is what we got to watch out for today, my friends. This is what we have to watch out for today. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Seven of Wands in its reversal. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now that are working on divine union or divine partnership. One of the things that we are effectively identifying right now is, again, even for the energy in divine union and partnership right now, there could be a feeling right now of both energies feeling like you are trying to navigate your own personal points of frustration that feel like they're a bit of a challenging area. And the problem around this right now is almost trying to navigate them personally right now, almost creates this feeling or this amplification of not wanting to burden the other one with your circumstances or with your problems or with your situations. And again, it's really important right now to really focus on being able to support each other in this moment, because it's almost leading to a space or place of mutual exhaustion. Okay? Now, masculine and feminine energy that are in this modality right now, what we are effectively identifying is this moment that both energies require or need some support of the other. Unhealthy coping mechanisms, bad modalities of thought, unhealed karmic energy may be rising to the surface today. And again, a lot of it is feeling like a challenging space, because a lot of it is effectively causing the situation or circumstance wherein you are feeling that level or degree of trying not to effectively make situations worse. A lot of the feeling that we're seeing right now, even in the divine union and partnership right now, is this point wherein there's a point of identification in what feels like it is not productive, what feels like it's not creating that sense of productivity, to be able to effectively allow that to just move away. And it's almost like this point, and I have to stress, one of the things that we're seeing here, and I think that this is really valuable for the energy right now in divine union and divine partnership, is almost this point of observation. And again, it's not the fact that some of these unhealthy situations and circumstances rise up. It's not the fact that these triggers aren't coming to the surface. It's more a point of observation and not feeding the trigger. Not building on the negative, but almost like allowing, it's almost going to be like, seriously, like, don't sweat the small stuff right now. Don't allow those small things to effectively like disempower you to a certain extent, because it's almost this moment of, again, just pushing them to the side, if you will, as you proceed forward from this point. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now that are working to come into partnership right now, what we are effectively identifying is this point that we are seeing. That for the masculine and feminine trying to come into partnership at this moment, what we are effectively identifying at this time is this point that we see that this is that make or break moment, that feminine is looking right now to masculine to try to determine if this is something that masculine can heal, or if this is going to be a continuation of something that is just going to create an unhealthy space or place for the feminine to occupy. Because what we are effectively identifying here is, again, and this is the pain of the feminine, looking at the masculine energies potentiality here. And again, feeling the frustration point, because there's something here that the feminine sees, that the feminine knows can be healed, but it requires the masculine to be able to bring it forth to the feminine. The feminine is recognizing, the feminine is almost, again, in a point of recognizing that masculine's own ability not to come forward to them at points of fear, not to come forward to them with their doubts, not to come forward to them with how they're feeling. That is the culprit. That is the issue. That is what needs to be healed. And that is the moment the feminine is again saying, I cannot heal that. That is literally the feminine looking at masculine and saying, there is only one thing I cannot heal. I cannot heal your own ability not to show me what needs to be healed. And in fact, that is creating a space or place of feminine saying, I need to heal from this. Because that is something that is a pain that masculine is putting on a feminine if they're not coming forward in this way, expressing themselves, articulating where they are hurting, that is creating hurt in the feminine. It is a hurt that is propagating itself, because by the withdrawal energy, it is further creating more pain. And this is a feminine that's potentially immediately moving back into separation, saying, I need to move away from this because this is no longer even in a space or place that I cannot heal it. This is feminine going, this is hurting me. This is what I now need to heal, because the desire to heal something that will not let me heal it is the source of pain. Masculine energy right now, again, if you are in a moment of trying to come into partnership, you may be struggling with this right now. And again, it is either going to feel like there's one or two different directions that you're moving here. Again, this is either a moment, masculine, you feel this in yourself. You're at this moment where you see yourself withdrawing. You see yourself withdrawing. You know you have this ability in you. You know, you see that this is not the right direction to go into. But again, for some of the masculine energy right now, this is that moment that you are either facing, if trying to come into partnership right now, you are facing your own unhealthy habit of withdrawing when feeling fear instead of moving forward. And you are wrestling it with it right now, because again, you're almost at this moment that you're seeing that the partnership depends on you healing this within yourself. And I need to stress right now, especially if masculine energy has any unhealthy coping mechanisms, bad modalities of thoughts, unhealed karmic connection. This could speak to the masculine energy. If not doing this work to heal and go through this and express your doubts and fears right now, you may be turning to those right now. You may be turning instead to the unhealthy coping mechanisms, bad modalities of thought, unhealed karmic connections, rather than getting to the source of why you need to turn to them in the first place. Now, masculine and feminine energy that is in separation. Again, this is why the feminine energy is effectively in separation. And this is almost the feminine energy. Again, this is why the feminine energy isn't reaching back out. This is why the feminine energy isn't connecting with energy that doesn't reciprocate in kind. Because this is feminine energy that's effectively looking at anything that doesn't reciprocate in a consistent, fair way. And this is the feminine saying that that is what the feminine is healing. And it is not due to the desire of the feminine to want to have that connection. It is the feminine observing that the connection isn't reciprocal. It isn't balanced. It doesn't create an even conductor. It's not that even give and take. It's not an energy that feels like it is consistent. It is potentially an energy that feels like it is sporadic, that only gives when it desires to give. And this is a feminine energy that's effectively, again, to a certain extent, not fighting that. They're just observing it and they're surrendering it. And they're surrendering it by saying that they haven't seen any indication of that change. That in fact, the lack of the communication, the lack of the reciprocity, the lack of the consistency. Again, an energy that regardless of the reason, regardless of a feminine even seeing the fact that a masculine energy is withdrawing because of their own fear. This is a feminine energy saying that is the culprit. That is something I cannot heal. That is putting me in a lower vibration. That is not something I can accept. I need to effectively allow myself to accept that that is something that needs to be healed from. And I will also stress for a lot of the feminine energy in this modality right now, again, if you go through having any unhealed, unhealthy coping mechanisms, bad modalities of thought, or unhealed karmic connections, this could also be a bit of a trigger point today, even in separation. So I would stress that you work through that as well. Because again, there's something about this right now that feminine is almost like moving through this feeling of like feeling that frustration of overwhelm on something that they would like to heal from, but they're having a difficult ability to do so. Continuing, masculine and feminine energy right now in part. So again, there's a lot of triggers that are potentially being reached today. What's really important in terms of it is not like feeding the trigger, but instead, moving away from it in such a way that, again, you can kind of build that sense or degree of empowerment. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between Devil card in combination with our Knight of Pentacles in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Knight of Cups. Now, depending on where you are right now, again, masculine and feminine energy right now. This is exactly what we're talking about. Look at this. This is exactly what we're talking about. What are we seeing here? Masculine and feminine energy right now in divine union and divine partnership. This is effectively why the partnership is working, because what is happening right now? Masculine is feeling triggered. Is masculine feeling is feeding the trigger? No. Masculine's not feeding the trigger. Masculine is expressing the fact that they are triggered. Masculine is expressing the fact that they feel triggered, but they are not falling into the trigger. It is literally the masculine saying, or potentially even having a point of observation right now to feminine, trying to say to the feminine, I'm feeling really triggered today. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling blah, blah, blah. This is masculine that's literally like calling out the trigger, showing the trigger. This is feminine, masculine, like almost like immediate being like, it's there. I see it. It's right there. That's my trigger. Okay. And that's a masculine emotionally opening up to feminine about their trigger. That's why the partnership is viable. That's why the partnership continues forward in the divine union vibration. Because it's not the fact that there aren't triggers there. You can't get rid of the triggers. You can't get rid of the unhealthy coping mechanisms, the bad modalities of thought, the unhealed karmic connection. You can observe them and you don't feed them. You don't feed the troll, okay? And this is that moment that we're effectively seeing that masculine is saying to themselves, almost to the feminine, I've got my internal troll coming out. I'm not feeding it. Masculine is instead putting a lot of care and effort and energy right now in emotionally expressing that that is the case. And that is what is allowing for this state or space of positivity. Now, feminine that is in this modality right now, this is a moment that you yourself are also potentially feeling very triggered in divine union and partnership at this time. What we are effectively seeing is a moment that we see that feminine is almost, again, observing a masculine energy that is saying to feminine, I see these characteristics, I see these problems in myself. And feminine, what is feminine doing in a positive way? Is feminine like saying to them like, yeah, you got those, like, yeah, you should work on them? No. Is feminine not being like, oh, that sounds like a you problem? Feminine is effectively saying, I've got them too. Again, feminine, and again, in the divine union energy, feminine's like, I got them too. I have those moments as well. I also struggle with those things. I share that burden. Those things are visible. Those things are present. I am acknowledging. This is the important thing. This is feminine saying, I acknowledge that these are circumstances and situations that you need to constantly work through. These aren't things that go away. I have them too. And this is almost the feminine energy feeling the strength and the expression of the divine union energy, because this is a masculine that's basically saying, like, I am not perfect. I see these things that I need to heal from. But feminine saying, the fact that you're telling me that already shows me that you have. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. This is a masculine energy that's saying to the feminine, I am not perfect. I see there are things that I need to heal from. And this is feminine saying, the fact that you're telling me, the fact that you're saying that to me shows me that you already have. Like, you're already on that. Like, this is the feminine almost amplifying the masculine, saying, you don't see, like, this is feminine being like, you don't see yourself the way I see you. You look at yourself as someone who is flawed. And feminine is almost saying to masculine, I look at you as someone who is perfect in their imperfections. Masculine energy and feminine that are moving into partnership right now, this is effectively exactly what will happen if masculine opens up in this way. If masculine comes into a state or space of having a point of observation. And this is the important thing. This is not a masculine energy that's saying to feminine, hey, what's up? This isn't a masculine energy going to feminine being like, how are you doing? This is a masculine energy that is turning towards feminine and saying, I recognize that there are spaces and places wherein I am not perfect. I recognize that there are spaces and places that I could have done better. That I recognize right now, there's literally masculine going, I'm doing it right now. This is masculine that's literally saying, I am experiencing that right now. I see myself doing it. But I want you to let you know, I still care about you right now. I want you to let you know that this is something that is a me problem. And I'm following my better angels here. I'm fighting back against my own trigger because I need to let you know that I care about this. I care about you. Feminine immediately seeing this sapling, boom, but divine union. This is a masculine energy that can see. And this is feminine literally almost saying to them instead, you being able to acknowledge your own imperfections is the gift. It is the grace. It is the fact that you're already doing it. It starts with acknowledging the imperfection, in calling it out, in articulating that you see it. Because again, this is feminine energy that is trying to say to masculine, we can only heal. What you show me can be healed. You have to show me the wound in order for me to heal it. You have to show me where it is, and then I will heal it. That is literally what the feminine is saying to the masculine. Show me where the wound is, and I will heal the wound. And feminine, if trying to come in divine union, they're seeing the masculine that can do that, show the wound, and that is leading to healing. Now, masculine and feminine in separation, this is feminine. This is why feminine is not turning backwards. They're only going forward at this time. It's not the fact that there isn't some connection here that needs to be worked through. This is feminine energy right now that is looking at something and saying that there is energy from the past that they wish that they could have healed. This is energy from the past that they wish that they could have healed. This is energy or connections that they are looking at right now, and they are observing. Again, if this is an energy right now, if this is masculine energy that was trying to come into partnership, this is, again, either masculine is showing this ability to come forward, or this is masculine that isn't. This is masculine that's effectively walking away from something, because this is potentially a masculine energy that is looking towards something right now. And again, it's looking at the partnership as the source of the pain instead of the source of the solution. And this is masculine, that if this has become too painful, if this work has become too painful, this is masculine energy that is effectively withdrawing from partnership and moving elsewhere, but again, very focused on their own isolated journey of self. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now that is moving in separation. This is why feminine energy is effectively closing out those karmic cycles, and they're not looking back again. They're kind of closing that door. Because again, this is a moment of feminine basically looking and feeling the full weight and sadness of looking at situations and circumstances and almost saying, like, I tried to heal this person. I tried to bring them to where I am. I'm trying to bring them up with me. I'm trying to bring them into this space. They chose not to. They chose to stay where they wanted to stay. They chose their pain. This is feminine literally saying that energy chose their pain. They chose to carry their pain over the promise of partnership. And this is feminine almost immediately leaving themselves open to new energy and recognizing that, like, an energy that desires partnership in this capacity will come forward with their own cup. They won't go seeking feminine to find it. They'll have found it from within. They'll have found that emotional balance. They'll have found that emotional ability, found that gift within the self, and they recognize that they can bring it to the feminine. Now, masculine energy. If you are in separation, you may be doing a little of this work right now. You may be doing a little bit of this work right now, but it's going to feel, and again, it's going to feel, depending on how you do this, it's either going to feel like an internal journey of the self, or it's going to feel like, again, something that you feel is happening to you. Okay? I want you to really think right now, if you're a masculine energy in separation, is something happening to you or is something happening within you? It's really going to be important to navigate between those 2 points right now, because we are seeing that there are triggers that are coming up right now around the masculine. A lot of triggers. And I want to stress that a lot of the masculine energy, if you have these triggers right now, it's going to be very important to work through these triggers right now, because what we are effectively seeing at this moment is the fact that we are effectively identifying right now the fact that the masculine is going through a moment that feels very triggering. And the problem with the masculine energy right now is the trigger is being set because, like, again, there is a feeling of rejection coming into play. There's a feeling of confusion. There's a feeling right now of trying to go towards some things right now and not getting back what you expect. But it's also a point right now of observation that is effectively occurring at this time. Because what we are effectively identifying at this moment is the fact that we are seeing that masculine, you are potentially recognizing that some of your own ability not to be able to be constant or consistent in some areas is potentially where some of this trigger is coming up. This could even be a moment right now. I need to stress for any of the masculine energy in this moment, there could be other masculine energy around you right now that's trying to give you some point of emotional support. This could almost be, again, a lot of masculine energy turning towards other masculine energy to say, like, what am I not getting here? What am I not seeing? Like, give it to me straight. Tell me what I don't see in myself that is potentially causing these problems. And this could be a lot of masculine energy right now, if in separation, having a lot of heart to hearts right now with energy that may be trying to tell them in a certain, like in a very kind, gentle way, some things or some situations that they feel like they might need to come into a space or place of correction in. And again, I have to stress, this is almost masculine energy. This is literally the only way this is like happening right now is like if a masculine is asking another masculine. Because this is almost a masculine being like, well, since you asked, I'll do the best to tell you what I see. And almost the masculine having this moment of saying, like, this other energy is basically saying to masculine, I've been there too. Again, it has to, but have you noticed what's happening here? Have you noticed that the healing's coming through either way? This is either a masculine that's bringing the problems to the feminine to heal, or this is a masculine going towards another masculine. And this is that moment that is almost helping to build that point of clarification. Now, and it's really important, again, to make sure that this isn't moving into a space or place of like feeling the trigger, but instead allowing this to be a moment of growth. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now. Feminine energy in separation, this is just that point of sadness, healing, working through, looking for that balanced masculine energy. Now, massive and feminine energy right now in partnership, this is potentially going to require a lot of work in helping support the masculine today. Because again, this is a masculine that's feeling a little indisposed. It's going to feel more like a practical hurdle right now in partnership that masculine's emotionally communicating on, hence divine union. Continuing to get clarification right now between our Six of Wands in combination with our Seven of Wands in its reversal. May I please have one card to clarify? Star in its reversal. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now that is working in partnership. One of the things that we are effectively seeing at this time is this moment that we are observing that, again, masculine and feminine, even in partnership right now, both energies are feeling a little indisposed. And this is why you have to be very careful right now if you're in divine partnership. Okay? Because even now we're seeing that the possibility of a trigger is effectively here. It's very much recognized. What are we seeing right now for the masculine and feminine energy right now? We are seeing and identifying that for divine masculine and divine feminine energy that's working in divine union right now, there is a moment of feminine also feeling some of this triggered energy around them. This is feminine energy also having this moment that feels like a point of frustration, their own sense of vulnerability. There's a point of feeling overexposed right now for the feminine and almost feeling to a certain extent, again, some of that feeling of overwhelm potentially rising to the surface right now. It's going to be very important for the feminine right now to continue to work on their own feeling of success in this moment, to really focus again on the positive and not let themselves get overwhelmed. Especially, I got to stress, if you've got unhealthy coping mechanisms, bad modalities of thought, unhealed karmic connections right now, it could be feeling very much like feminine, that you're feeling also very susceptible. There's a lot of childhood wounds rising to the surface today. The important thing to navigate right now for the divine union energy, working towards that mutual success. Utilizing this not as an amplification of those doubts and fears, but instead focusing on the positive, continuing to move in that direction or in that vibration. Now, masculine and feminine energy that is trying to come into union right now. And again, feminine, what are we seeing here? This is where we get this like battery effect, right? Masculine is almost feeling like their own sense of feeling indisposed, but giving emotional support to feminine. Feminine is almost feeling their own sense of vulnerability coming out. And this is a bit of a problem area for feminine right now, because again, there's almost a moment right now where the masculine, and I have to stress, this is where we get a little bit of this balancing problem. Feminine is at a point where it's like the masculine is like almost like practically indisposed right now from helping the feminine, given the fact that some of these like triggers are being hit. And this is a moment for feminine that feels a little difficult, because again, seeing the masculine in this vibration also kind of impacts you and makes you similarly feel somewhat exposed. But again, it's almost that moment of kind of masculine and feminine building support around each other by saying, we both equally feel this. We both equally share this burden. We both equally have these moments that we feel like this. We can get through it together. Masculine and feminine energy moving into partnership right now. This is that trial moment. This is that moment, because again, what is happening right now? This is a moment that, again, feminine knows this story all too well. Feminine knows this story all too well. Feminine energy right now is looking right now at a point of identifying that there is a point that we are seeing that the feminine is experiencing due to the fact that the feminine is in a modality or in a vibration where they are seeing that masculine is pulling away from them. They're pulling away, potentially. They're feeling that need, that fear that is pulling them away from partnership instead of towards it. And this is that moment that effectively feminine is like feeling, and this is why it feels so difficult for feminine. Feminine is seeing masculine energy in this vibration and recognizing that they can't do anything about it. They can't effectively do anything about it. They effectively have to recognize and identify to a certain extent that this is something that they just need to see. They just need to see on the part of where masculine falls. Is this a moment trying to come into divine union? That masculine is going to move towards the feminine. Again, allowing for that easement, putting their guard down. And that's that moment that potentially is speaking relief to the feminine. Or if this is a moment wherein the masculine is going to continue to pull away from the feminine, or worse, focus the reason on the feminine. Put that anxiety, put that fear, put that blame on the feminine. In which point we see that this is a feminine that is effectively like abandoning hope for this connection, because this is again a feminine that sees the fact that this is a masculine energy that would rather externalize the blame, externalize the hurt, and put it on the feminine, as opposed to coming in to allow this to be a moment of joint sharing of burdens. I said the way this kind of feels right now is almost like a feminine energy that has exposed themselves to the masculine. They opened up in this way. And masculine is moving in the other direction. And this is that moment that, again, feminine is effectively saying she can't control which direction the masculine energy moves. Bearing in mind this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. She can almost watch and wait. And in that moment of waiting, she feels the full breadth of the anxiety. She feels the full breadth of recognizing and feeling that there's something here that she can't effectively control. She just has to kind of leave herself in a moment of. And if the masculine moves away from her in this way, this is a feminine that is almost regretting her own decision to be open to a masculine, because it is feeling like the masculine energy effectively took that point of vulnerability and utilized it to their own advantage instead of allowing it to be a moment where they fall together and come into divine union. Masculine energy, if you're trying to come into partnership at this moment, this is that moment that we're seeing, because again, what you're trying to navigate right now is a moment where it's like your own fears and doubts are very much focused on the feminine. It's that fear potentially of moving towards feminine. It's this feeling, again, of seeing a feminine energy with this possibility of divine union here, but realizing and recognizing that this is a feminine energy that and this is the problem here. This is a feminine energy that even now is starting to close back off to you. This is a feminine energy that's starting to withdraw because, again, this is a feminine energy that's seeing you withdraw. This is literally a feminine energy that is starting to mirror the masculine right now if trying to come into partnership. And this is a moment of masculine realizing and acknowledging now that this is a point that either is, again, something that you're going to continue to amplify if you continue to pull away, or this is a moment that you're going to be able to effectively, this is a moment of making that choice to come into divine union. But you're recognizing here that that point of divine union is requiring a profound amount of vulnerability because it's requiring you to push past your own sense of fear. Okay? That is that point that we're effectively seeing right now, that the masculine is working through right now. Because again, this is either something of seeing the fact that if you're pulling away, you almost see the impact it's having already on the feminine. You see the fact that this is a moment of feminine that is open and vulnerable to you, and you're not necessarily opening to them. And this is almost a moment that you can kind of tell that if this doesn't happen, that this is going to be like kind of the closing out of that cycle. Or this is a masculine energy if you're not necessarily at this moment right now, if you're trying to come into partnership, if you're projecting, you're not doing this internal work. This is you potentially putting a lot of that blame on the feminine. This is potentially you putting a lot of that blame on the feminine, putting the finger of accusation on the feminine, putting that point of observation on the feminine energy, and utilizing them and trying to articulate that they are the reason or the source of why you're pulling away. And this is almost masculine going back into separation by saying the solution to some of the feelings that you're having, the difficult feelings, is just to move away from the feminine and to potentially articulate that is the source of the hurt. Now, masculine and feminine energy right now, this is why the feminine energy right now, if in separation, is moving with such a sense of caution, if you will, because what we're really identifying at this moment is this is feminine energy. That again, they're moving right now at a space or place where they feel like they were open. They feel like they did open up. They feel like they did kind of reach this level or degree of openness, but now they're feeling like it isn't being matched, that it wasn't being met. And this is a feminine energy recovering from a moment where they feel like they were fully vulnerable. And then masculine, in turn, did not meet them at that moment. And that's why this is almost, again, that affirmation to feminine. And unfortunately, right now, this is almost the feminine energy moving forward right now, but being a lot more closed off. Because even in separation right now, feminine's trying to say to themselves, I need to make sure I'm not so vulnerable again going forward. This is almost feminine energy, like putting their armor back on, if you will, if moving back into separation. Because again, feminine energy is almost telling themselves that the lesson going forward is to be more cautious, to be more protective, not to let their guard down, if you will. Again, bringing back that Venus in retrograde lesson of not overgiving to situations that don't give back in kind. This is feminine almost affirming to themselves with a painful heart that in a way, and I think that this is something that needs to be a little bit more, this needs to be evened out a little for feminine in separation. Because this is almost a moment that may be starting to feel a little bit more like self-pitying, because this is a moment of feeling like the solution might be like to never open up to things. But again, making sure that that's not coming in, but more being like very much more, again, this is a feminine that's saying they want to be more discerning in terms of whom and how they open up. Masculine and feminine energy, again, masculine energy in separation right now, this is potentially what we are effectively seeing right now that is creating this level or degree of difficulty or hurdle if you are in separation right now as a masculine. Because as a masculine right now in separation, you are potentially feeling that full weight of going through a circumstance or situation right now wherein you feel like a lot of the feminine energy right now isn't necessarily opening up to you. They're not in a space or place where they're feeling like they're being their most authentic expression of self. You're potentially feeling like a lot of the feminine energy around you right now is in this modality. And it's, again, if you are not embodying the lessons that are being carried forward at this time, you're potentially looking at this more as a moment of taking notes. You're looking at this more of being like, what do I need to change about myself externally to allow for the feminine energy to be more open to me going forward? What's going to allow for that better degree of success? If this is a moment right now where you are embodying and learning this internal lesson, This is a moment that you are potentially realizing and recognizing that the feminine energy is like water. It's like a reflection point. What you put into it, you will get back in kind. This is the masculine energy. If you're doing this internal work, you are realizing that that is the feminine energy. It is it's that cup that you're pouring into, and what you put into it will give you back. And so this is the masculine energy that's potentially recognizing that if there is a feminine energy that isn't effectively open to them, isn't effectively giving their most authentic expression, isn't like completely vulnerable and open, that maybe that speaks to the fact that you yourself need to be more vulnerable and open to allow the feminine energy to feel comfortable, to be vulnerable and open to you in kind. And this is that moment that we are seeing that is effectively allowing for a breakthrough point, letting this feel less like a search and more like a victory, because you are now understanding that that is not something that you can fake. It is something that you need to learn how to do within the self, right? Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Seven of Wands in its reversal in combination with our Knight of Cups. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Page of Swords. So, masculine and feminine energy right now that are working in divine union and partnership. One of the things that we're seeing that is so important and so valuable is the fact that we are effectively recognizing that there is a moment that we are seeing that for these energies, masculine and feminine energy, the masculine's ability right now to be vulnerable in situations and circumstances is exactly what the point of victory is. It's exactly creating that point of victory. It's exactly creating that sense of accomplishment, because you're effectively recognizing and realizing at this time that that point of observation, that point of being able to be in spaces and places where you can be your most vulnerable, open, authentic expression of self. That is the triumph point. That is the moment that empowers you, because these are spaces and places where you recognize that you don't necessarily feel like you have to fight all the time or push all the time. It's almost a space or place that allows for some point of respite. It allows for some point of easement, and it's almost immediately re-energizing you, because it's almost like you needed to have that moment. You needed to know that that ability was there. You needed to know that that was something that existed to further amplify your own ability of strength and support going forward. This is almost immediately recognizing this and allowing this to speak volumes to the fact that this is kind of creating an empowering moment right now. This is almost, and again, this is where we come full circle. There could be a moment right now, masculine energy, something that you may be having to put a lot of care and attention on right now, is a lot of other masculine energy that is approaching you at this time, trying to understand what you've effectively grasped so that they themselves might be able to learn it. There may be a lot of energy reaching out to you right now, masculine energy, if you're in this vibration of divine union, of other energy reaching out to say, what's your secret? How do you do this? And masculine, again, it's going to feel like a little bit difficult, because it's almost going to be a point of being like, how do I tell? I can't. There's no way I'm going to tell you, because you're just going to take it as like taking notes instead of understanding that it's an embodied experience that you need to learn. That it's not about what you do, it's about how you change internally that's going to allow this to work. You can't fake it. You can't fake it. All right? You can't fake this. You just have to experience and embody and understand it. You have to learn these lessons on an internal level. And I feel like masculine energy right now, even if in divine union, there's other energy being like, yeah, but what did you actually do? Like, what did you actually do to have a divine union? Like, what did you actually do? And the masculine's literally trying to say to the other masculine energy, coming towards them in this vibration, I didn't do anything. I talked to them. I listened to them. I cared about them. I put that energy into it. Like, this is literally masculine having to tell potentially other masculine energy, literally trying to walk them through it and be like, it's not something, it's not like a playbook. It's not like a list of things you do. This is what you do emotionally, internally, to get into that point. And the masculine energy around the masculine energy right now is going, yeah, but if you had to like actually like break it down, what would you do? Like, that's literally what's happening here. Oh my God. Feminine energy in divine union and divine partnership at this moment. What we are effectively seeing is, again, this is masculine energy. And again, feminine, you may be seeing masculine energy right now just in the vibration of like reaching out to a lot of masculine energy right now. There's almost like some camaraderie that's coming into play, even for the energy right now of feminine, seeing and recognizing right now the fact that masculine's just in this modality. Again, it's feeling like a lot of little kid energy for the masculine today. Just kind of like wanting to like partner up with other masculine energy, discuss things, having like that point of like camaraderie. This has got a lot of masculine energy trying to like avoid obligation today to a certain extent. Now, feminine energy seeing this to a certain extent, this is almost this moment of like just shrugging your shoulders and being like, I can't do anything about that. Like, what am I going to do? It's fine. Like, it's, I hate to say this, but again, and I'm going to say this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. There's going to be like a little bit of modality here for the feminine, looking at masculine energy and being like, masculine will be masculine, boys will be boys. It's almost like that kind of energy, because it feels a little bit like clubhousey today as it relates to the energy of the masculine in this modality. Now, feminine in this modality right now, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because it's almost this moment of, again, it's feeling the energy that's being curated or cultivated around it, that almost feels like a supportive system. It feels like, it doesn't feel like something that's like necessarily pulling someone away, as again, and I think that this is really important for the feminine in this point right now. There could be some energy of feminine that feels frustrated seeing the masculine in this moment right now, versus the energy of feminine recognizing and appreciating the value and strength of having supportive karmic energy around you is very valuable and important. This is in a way repowering the masculine's own battery, if you will. Masculine and feminine energy trying to come into partnership at this moment. This is going to feel very different, because what we're effectively seeing right now, due to the fact that we are identifying that for the masculine and feminine energy right now that is trying to come into divine union, that is trying to come into divine partnership. This is that moment of feminine literally surrendering themselves to whatever modality the masculine energy is wanting to embody right now. This is, again, more of that energy of feminine acting as that reflecting pool to the masculine energy at this moment. This is feminine surrendering to the circumstances, going through that sacred heart energy of basically saying there's something here that the feminine can't control. And that is how the masculine is approaching the feminine at this time. This is either, again, a feminine energy that's leaving themselves open to this. And again, feminine is looking. Feminine's leaving themselves open to masculine under one of two different modalities. This is feminine energy that is effectively saying to masculine right now, if you show me that you have an ability of being brave enough to show your emotions, if you are brave enough to come towards me from a space or place of emotional expression, then the door is never closed. The door is forever open. This is not a moment of feminine fighting back against something. That is what is so important here. This has never been a moment of fighting back. This is feminine basically saying, I am open. The doors are open. The garden is open. It is there. You can walk in at any time. So long, this is like the no shirt, no shoes, no business circumstance on like the emotional and spiritual level that says there's only two things that you need to pass through the door. There are only two things that you need. You have to have them. If you don't have them, you can't come in. And I'm not letting you in because you're going to spoil everything. This is feminine literally saying you need to be at a point that you can express your emotionality. You need to know how you feel, and you need to be brave enough to do that. You have to be brave enough, and it's so hard to be brave. And the hardest thing to be brave for masculine is expressing your feelings. And this is a feminine that says, if you are a masculine who has mastered this art, if you can come towards me with an openness of your own emotions, not just when you feel confident, but when you feel frightened, when you feel terrified, then I will always be open to receive. That is the gift of the feminine. That is the reflecting pull of the feminine. And the feminine is further going and saying, I will reflect it back to you in kind. This is feminine effectively of trying to articulate this in coming into partnership right now to see if masculine has mastered this ability. And if not, feminine's walking away by saying, again, a moment of saying, you haven't learned how to do it. You haven't learned how to do it. And feminine's almost saying to masculine, I'm not saying that there isn't a space or place where you might learn how, but it's not today. And it's not today. And feminine's saying, I can't wait around for you. I can't wait around for you to learn how. You can find it again. When you find it again, you come back. If you think you found it, come back. But if not, feminine's saying, because feminine's almost saying right now to energy trying to come in partnership, if not, there are those who have. Feminine almost sees them right now. Feminine literally, even in the feminine energy right now, that is moving towards partnership. If masculine energy hasn't mastered this is feminine energy saying, there's like a point of unfairness right now. There's almost feminine feeling like it's a point of unfairness to stay in the spaces or places that they haven't learned this, because feminine's saying, there are others who have. There are others who will meet me here. And this is almost the feminine looking at themselves more as a gift and saying, I need to move to where those spaces and places of those energies that need me as much as I need them. Masculine and feminine right now that are working on partnership. Masculine, you may be feeling this moment if you're coming into partnership right now. And this is that moment that we see that for the energy right now trying to move in partnership. This is that moment of masculine that you are feeling the full weight and anxiety of being able to express your emotions and feeling the confidence to do so. And again, this is either leading to the masculine energy going towards the feminine in this moment where you are feeling the anxiety of expressing your emotions and trying to find strength, i.e. immediately coming into divine union, or it's feeling like too hard of a task. It's feeling like something that is too much of a hurdle to push through. It is feeling like something that is overwhelming to experience. You're walking away from it. And again, you're setting off on your own journey of the self. But the lesson is coming through right now, whether you want it or not. So even at this moment right now, there is a point of personal observation potentially happening right now as to why. There's a personal point of observation and recognizing that even at this moment, there is something that, again, it's an observation that something about that surrender point that you're feeling right now is something that you'll be able to carry with you as you proceed forward from this point. Now, masculine and feminine energy in separation, this is exactly why the feminine energy is resigning themselves to the circumstances and situations that they find themselves at this moment, even if it causes them great pain, because feminine energy is looking at this now from a space and place of compassion. Feminine energy is now looking right now and effectively trying to identify and see the energy that feels like it is coming from a space and state of emotional balance and strength, leaving themselves open to that. This is feminine energy opening their doors again. This has been a feminine energy that's been blocked off to a certain extent. This is feminine energy reaching that point of catharsis right now in terms of saying and identifying and understanding that this is a feminine that says, I know that there are other energies out there. I know that not all masculine energy isn't at a space or place that they haven't learned these lessons. This is feminine energy hitting that moment of sadness and immediately feeling hope on the other side of that point of sadness. This is a feminine energy that's almost immediately saying, I know in my heart, I've seen evidence that there's energy that knows what this is. And feminine saying, I am now just moving myself into a space or place where I am leaving myself open to the energy that shows me that it has that capacity of understanding. This is a bittersweet moment for feminine because, again, this is, again, why the feminine is able to move forward from this point, because this is a feminine energy that does not feel like it is leaving anyone behind. This is a feminine energy that is moving forward and saying to them, basically, I hope I see you. I hope I see you on the way. I hope you catch up. But if not, there will be other energy on the way that I will find. Masculine energy that is in separation right now, this is going to potentially feel like more of a struggle point, because what we are really identifying at this time for masculine is there is a maturation process that is happening here. And again, some of this maturation process, what we love about this, okay? And this is going to feel a little bit like, the energy that needs the help right now is now getting the energy from feminine and masculine, because this is potentially even masculine right now looking around to other masculine and saying, look at this. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong here? And this is effectively masculine energy, like the energy that's trying to support the masculine. Masculine is now looking to the energy that feels like things are going well, and they're getting those notes, they're getting that insight, they're getting that clarity. This is almost that energy. And I have to say, for some of the masculine energy right now that's in this modality, this could be feeling like a lot of energy around you right now is potentially surprising you, because they're probably having some heart-to-hearts with you. Some like real heart-to-hearts. And some of it has to do with the fact of masculine trying to articulate to other masculine that's basically saying the secret that you don't seem to understand is that when you care about something, you move towards it when it's hard. You stay, you are constant, you are a constant gardener. You have to be a constant gardener. That is how you maintain a garden. You don't abandon a garden. You don't walk away from it. You have to be constant. You have to be vigilant. And this is that moment of masculine trying to say that. But again, this is either masculine energy embodying this and understanding and trying to take notes on it, or this is masculine energy realizing that what they're trying to say to them is in a journey of the self that says you have to show your care, even through moments of fear. Even through moments of anger, even through moments that make you feel like you want to run away, you have to run closer. You have to run forward. That's what love does. Love runs you loves you towards the difficulty. It doesn't run you away from it. And that is the masculine energy, potentially even trying to get that message imparted to them from other masculine energy right now, if in separation. Final card for today's spread between our star energy in its reversal in combination with our Page of Swords. So again, a lot of energy here based on, again, a very big disparity that's potentially happening with masculine and feminine right now. But again, feminine needing that support, seeing masculine rise to the challenge. May I please have one card to clarify? This is kind of nice. I gotta stress, this is kind of nice right now. Because what we're effectively seeing at this moment is there is this point right now in terms of healing the unhealed karmic connections. This is something that needs to be effectively addressed right now. And this is something that is effectively being addressed. Even for the energy right now in partnership, there could be a moment right now, and I need to stress there's something potentially occurring right now as it relates to masculine and feminine energy right now that is in partnership. That is this point of observation that's effectively coming through right now as it relates to, again, feminine energy right now in partnership. And what's really interesting about this right now is this is where all of those unhealed childhood wounds are coming to the surface right now. There's something about this right now that we see that masculine energy is working through their own unhealed triggers as it relates to the inner child wound. Feminine is also, and I think that this is what's really important right now, and this could be why the masculine is being triggered in their own inner child wounds. Feminine is potentially experiencing some of these inner child wounds very tangibly right now as it relates to outside karmic energy. This is almost feminine energy right now, having to navigate those unhealed karmic wounds around them. Masculine, you may be seeing this right now. You may almost be having this moment right now where, again, the energy around this is almost such wherein we are identifying that there's almost like this defensive, and I think that this is going to be the power of the divine union energy here. This is almost a masculine energy that is effectively like rising to the support, like masculine energy is getting their own energy back today. This is almost like an energy that like moves into some childish energy, but then comes back into a point of strength, because this is almost masculine energy seeing some expression of feminine that's feeling some anxiety, some frustration, some difficulties as it relates to some of the unhealed karmic energies around them that are putting them in a space or place wherein the feminine doesn't feel like they can be their most authentic expression of self. It's almost this moment right now of the masculine seeing this around the feminine. And the thing about this right now is this is a masculine energy that's almost like rising to the challenge, if you will, rushing to defend the feminine energy in this modality and in this degree, potentially to help the feminine energy through some of this unhealed karmic energy that is effectively around them at this time. Simultaneously, this is masculine energy that is potentially helping other masculine energy right now with any situations and circumstances having to do with feminine energy. This is that dual work, okay? Masculine's feeling on one hand, they may feel like they have to very much support and defend feminine. On the other hand, this almost masculine feeling like a lot of masculine energy or energy is coming towards them right now, bringing some circumstances and situations with feminine to them to try to get some point of clarity. So masculine in a way is feeling right now, if in divine union or in divine partnership, that very much you're kind of having to come into this like protective role around, like, again, both the feminine energy that you're working to protect and defend right now, and also from a lot of like navigating some of these hurdles with unhealed karmic energy. This is like masculine almost like coming into that like defensive mode right now, but again, doing it because that's what love does. It defends and protects the energy that you care about. This is masculine like rising to the challenge of defending in that modality right now through any of those hurdles or circumstances. Now, masculine energy right now and feminine, you could be seeing this right now. You could be seeing this on the part of the masculine energy that you are in divine union with. And this is why you deeply appreciate and fold into this masculine energy. This is why you continue forward, because there's a moment right now where you recognize that even as it may feel like there's other energy that feels like it's not coming to you in a positive space, you feel like this is a masculine energy that is like unflinching in protecting you in those moments when you feel like you are at your most vulnerable. Again, constant gardener. Okay? Masculine energy and feminine that are working on partnership right now, this is that make or break moment. This is that make or break moment, because what we are effectively seeing at this time is, again, feminine is feeling like they are at a moment of being deeply at a point of feeling very vulnerable to masculine, but in a very non-positive way. There's a moment right now where feminine is feeling like masculine has the ability to effectively leave feminine energy in a moment where they could be feeling like they're at their most vulnerable. And this is effectively feminine energy at this time, looking and utilizing a point right now in identifying whether this feels like a masculine energy that is going to rise to the challenge, push through their own fear, as it were, to support and protect the feminine, or if this is moving back into a modality of something that feels like it is unhealed, something that feels like it is unhealthy. This is the feminine effectively, again, looking to masculine and saying like, are you strong enough? Are you strong enough to be in this divine union with me? Or are you going to paint me as the problem? Are you going to paint me as the source of the problem? Are you always going to look at this as we are on sides that are oppositional? Or are we going to be on the same side? Is it us against the world? Or is it you and the world against me? That is what feminine is experiencing right now. And masculine, you are potentially feeling this right now as it relates to the partnership possibility, because this is a moment that feels like you are being pushed into a space or place where, again, you feel that trigger, you feel this anxiety point, something that the feminine brought to you is such a challenging space that effectively you are recognizing and you are identifying that this is either something that you work to heal, that you basically say to the feminine, I am always by your side, that there's something here where you can be open, and I'm here to heal this, and I'm here to protect against anything that would like disrupt our partnership. Or this is a moment of masculine effectively looking at this, again, moving back into separation by saying, this is too much, this is too great a burden, this is not my problem, this is yours, I'm just moving away, I'm separating myself from this. Wherein this is a masculine that's going back into that cycle of autonomy. Feminine energy, if in separation right now, this is why you're having this point of again, and again, it's going to be a little triggering for feminine right now, because feminine, there is this moment that makes you feel, even if you're in separation right now, like you are feeling very much at a point where you can't be vulnerable. You feel like you have to have your guard up. And again, this is that moment in separation right now with feminine, that this is feminine energy, but is effectively like reminding themselves that what they're seeking as they relate to their manifestation goal right now is effectively looking for masculine energy that is supportive, that's going to be a support system, but not necessarily someone that like feminine has to like lean on particularly, but almost a feminine energy that feels like they are on their side instead of feeling like they're constantly like working on opposite sides. This is almost feminine energy saying like, I need someone that's going to protect me at a space and place when I'm feeling my most vulnerable, not effectively just kind of move in the direction that feels like it is best for them. Masculine energy right now, if you are in separation, there is this moment. And again, I have to stress right now, this could be a moment where the masculine is feeling somewhat defensive, because I'm even seeing here that there's a moment, if masculine's in separation, there could be a point right now that you are potentially articulating your own level or degree of frustration about some feminine energy right now. The problem that you're seeing here is potentially you're not getting the support that you would anticipate or expect from having a point of discussing feminine energy in this way. It's almost a moment right now where you feel like you are oppositionally on a different side, or even feeling like the energy isn't necessarily on your side right now, which may create a feeling of defensiveness, because what we are effectively expressing or experiencing right now is a moment of masculine realizing that there's some kind of change afoot. And the problem with the masculine right now is this is either a change that feels like it's afoot around you right now, or it's a change that you realize that you need to enact internally. This is that moment of, again, seeing something within the self that needs to be adapted or adjusted, or only externalizing it on the outside sources. Bottom of the deck on this reading right now is Queen of Wands in its reversal. The problem right now is the fact, again, for the energy right now of energy that's not in divine union right now. There is a feeling right now of masculine, feeling like to a certain extent you don't understand what's happening with a lot of the feminine energy around you. This even could be articulating right now as a masculine feeling that the feminine around them right now is moving in a state or space of not necessarily like being on their side, or they're not communicating. This is masculine almost being like, what's going on with the feminine energy? Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. This is almost feminine energy right now, not necessarily being in a modality of feeling open to communicating to masculine energy. Particularly, I have to stress, if this is masculine energy that is only coming to feminine to talk about negative things about feminine energy, because it's almost feminine energy that's putting a pin in it and being like, can you please articulate as to what is going on there, because something seems like you're leaving something out of the conversation. Masculine energy that is working on coming into partnership right now, this is that moment of feeling the point of intimidation of feminine. This is masculine energy. Again, you're feeling the fear and expressing yourself to feminine, and that's either going to create a space or place where the feminine is not going to be communicating with you because they're matching you, or it's a moment that you are recognizing your own intimidation factor to feminine energy that may necessarily cause you to move away from partnership when you should move closer to it. masculine and feminine energy in partnership right now. This is that moment that may be feeling like a point of frustration, because this is a feminine energy that may be feeling like they need a lot of support from the masculine at this time, but almost feeling like the masculine needs so much support from the feminine right now on some level that it's almost creating a space or place that is hard for the feminine energy to know what to do, or trying to make sure to do the right thing. While masculine right now, this is a moment that we're potentially seeing that is coming through as an expression of some kind of wound that needs to be healed potentially in partnership as it relates to unhealed karmic energy of feminine that you may have experienced in the past. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and receiving these messages. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video, and if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber ID at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I want to thank you guys so much for being here with me today and sharing with me in these messages. And we will do this again tomorrow.